What's going on? I'm back here with Ace Attorney Jewel. Destinies, the final... Paul and I are doing the same pose. What may yet be the final portion of the final case. We could be beating it today. Maybe not this episode, but maybe today. Which means you'll get it in a few days after this. Never mind. Two notes I had. One, it will be an amazing twist if it is actually Fulbright, and that would be classic Ace Attorney in the rule of funny. That, like, this is the funniest outcome, so it should come to pass. But it would also be kind of funny as well if we get in there and in the first testimony he's just like, it's obviously not me, I was threatened. And then we're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense after this huge build-up. I could see both happening, although I think it's more likely that they're going to go the route of Fulbright was the killer the whole time. Or the spy. But yeah, like, I'll be like a little disappointed if it is actually him, because he had sort of a competently written arc prior to that. But either way, just the prospect of him being cast suspicion on at all, whether it is him or isn't, is hilarious. But I'm way too excited, but also a bit scared, because what would make sense to me is that since Aura was kind of running that trial previously, and now she's surrendered the hostages and it's no longer really in her jurisdiction, it's mostly just the judge running it, it would make sense to me if we got our health back. But if we didn't get our health back when we swapped from the case 7 years ago to this one, we're not going to here. So I'm probably just going to have to manage the rest of this on 2 health, or get a horrible bad ending where Athena's sent to prison and I cry forever. I believe in your complete innocence, and now we're going to prove it to the world. Thank you, Apollo. I know you can do it. Are you not going to, like, at least...
You won't be needing that eye patch anymore, right? Right, because I'm fine now.
It's still a bit cold, you might want the jacket. You know you can throw those in the garbage too, you don't just have to leave them on the floor. Alright, great! Now this is the Apollo I know. Welcome back, Apollo! It's almost time for the trial to restart, though it looks like you have things well in hand. Yup. I should head back to the prosecutor's office. You're not gonna watch? But why? I want to look into a few things. Namely, the first people on the scene 7 years ago, the facial data registered by the robot, and Detective Fulbright's background. I think you said you already had, like, profiles on, like, the first 3 people. You said you'd get them to us, I guess, so you have to go back for that. Sounds great, Edgeworth. Thanks. I expect to be repaid with a victory, right? Now, if you'll excuse me. Could you maybe just put an order with the judge to get our health back? Okay, you two all set to go? You bet I am! Let's do this. Yahoo! So it does sound like we are going to have all 3 powers available to us. Or at the very least, Apollo's power, which is nice. This is it, the final battle. It does feel that way, doesn't it? The murder of Apollo's friend, the courtroom bombing incident. It all comes to a head here, my friends. Excited thump! Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'd probably mess up my microphone. I hope not. And the case that ushered in the dark age of the law 7 years ago. Destiny has called us to bring the one responsible for it all to justice today. You might even say that there was a dual death. December 20th, 5:27 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Oh, I thought you were going to do the door thing again, and one of the doors was going to snap off its hinges because there was a bomb that went off here. Let us now reconvene. What I'm curious about is if the testimony theme is still in up-tempo, because it may mean that we're very close in this last thing. There are only like 3 or 4 more bits of testimony. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has never been more ready. You know, this is the first time we've been at the defense bench together since I debuted. Now that you mention it. Yeah, and last time one of your boss got arrested, declared guilty. I understand why you were, like, a bit wary of Athena. Not because of Athena particularly, just because you've had that sort of experience before. Now that you mention it. Although, back then I thought you were more loud than you were reliable. Ouch! You've really come a long way since then, Apollo. You've grown a lot. You've changed a fair bit yourself in this past year or so, Phoenix. You were a very different man in the 4th game. There have been some hiccups, but I guess I've done pretty well. That you have, my friend. Not when I was playing as you, but broadly speaking. He's still got that ego of his, though. Prosecutor Blackwell, with the 7-year mistake now resolved, you can finally take your rightful place. Yes, I guess we can keep the chat for later. But bailiff, please bring in the witness immediately. Even with those handcuffs off, Prosecutor Blackwell seems to be pretty much the same. 7 years of grumpiness doesn't go away so easily, I guess. It is nice that they actually does have the handcuffs off for this bit, though. Alright, Fulbright, you best start talking. Bobby Fulbright here. I heard I was needed on the stand, so here I am. All right, it does seem like it was probably him. Because if it was his persona as we've known it thus far would be bawling at the prospect of him being unjust. Detective Fulbright, do you know why you have been called to give testimony? Yep, because there's only one reason why I'd be called. And that is because it's time for justice! Ha-ha! Injustice bitches! Objection! Objection! You can't fool us with that act anymore. Your justice is nothing but lies. What? Are you questioning the integrity of my sense of justice? I mean, sure, sometimes I make mistakes, but hey! He's acting exactly the same as always. Tell me about it. He must be feeling awfully confident. Fulbright, if you wish to dispel our suspicions, then let's get to your testimony. Alright, fine! You want me to prove my righteousness? I can certainly do that! This is gonna be one weird final act. The embodiment of justice. I am the very embodiment of justice itself. I won't have you make me into a villain with your far-fetched arguments. And this bit about the escape route is only a theory. You don't have any proof. What we do have is proof that Athena Cykes is the culprit. The lighter with her prints on it. Alright, this is a very huge change in your tune from a minute ago when you were like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to die. He seems mega suspicious now. Definitely gonna have to push a bit on that one. So you're saying the suspicions against you are completely false, and that the defendant is the real culprit? That's right. Mr. Lawyer's escape route is totally circumstantial. He doesn't have any proof that I made a big leap onto a ladder. We don't have proof. You are correct about that. But you also weren't present in this building when we said all that, so I don't know why you suddenly know about the ladder. I'm certain the bailiff didn't, fill him in on the entire case, right? When bringing him over, he would have just said, come on, they want your testimony. And Fulbright just said, I wasn't told, it's just that there's only one reason. He's walked himself into a huge corner here. We don't have proof, you're correct about that. However, you don't have any proof for your own claim either. I guess you're right. Well, his claim was just that it's her because of the blood on the thing, which is proof, I guess. But you can't define justice with evidence. You can't define it anyway. Justice just is.
Objection!
Objection! Don't make me break out a dictionary on you. Please don't throw the book at me. Tell me the Phantom didn't just make me set up a stupid pun for him. Let's just try not to lose focus, alright? But my justice is crystal clear. What's not clear are your eyes. Wake up and smell the justice. Silence. Enough of your rubbish, Fulbright. If you have even an ounce of justice, then you will answer the court's questions and prove it. Prosecutor Blackwell? Prosecutor Blackwell looks torn. Well, Fulbright was his partner, after all. Is that exactly true? I mean, he was more like his handler, I would have said. Although he did basically become his errand boy at a point. Prosecutor Blackwell is right. The truth will be revealed in the cross-examination. The suspicions against Detective Fulbright are, at this point, only suspicions. As is my duty, I will judge the claims against the detective as impartially as I can. Does anyone have any objections? That's fine, Your Honor. Now ask away and don't hold back. There don't appear to be any objections. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination. With full health, Your Honor? Cross-examination. The embodiment of justice. No, figured. Polly, Athena, what are we thinking about this? He looks like he's sticking with Athena as the culprit. And it doesn't help that he has the evidence. Let's press him on everything until he cracks. I am with you there. None of this seemed immediately presentable. You're for the very embodiment of justice itself. Hold it! The embodiment of justice. Those are just empty words. But they say if you keep saying something, it can eventually become the truth. Isn't that how people make their dreams come true, too? By wishing over and over? Alright. Let's just move on. I won't have you making me into villain with your far-fetched argument. I mean, none of this is actual testimony except for this and the last two, but I'm just curious. It's Ace Attorney and I want the fun dialogue. Hold it! And sometimes it's like you have to push on all of them before anything happens. My arguments are hardly far-fetched. There's careful reasoning behind my theory. Yes, well, apparently there's reasoning behind even a tofu burger. But what we have against Miss Cykes, though, is not just reasoning, but solid evidence. And it's called a lighter with Miss Cykes' fingerprints on it and the victim's blood, but not on the metal. Which is so weird. Yes, that's true, but wait, Detective Fulbright was the one who brought that evidence to the trial. If you harbor any suspicions, I suggest you ask Fulbright, right, Dono? I mean, you're on our side. It couldn't hurt for you to ask something once in a while, especially about that lighter. He's right, but what exactly should I ask about? The number of prints, the position of the prints? Both are interesting things to know? I can't remember if he said... Well, it's not like we're going to lose health here, so I may as well ask about both. I don't remember if he said there were only one set of prints on it. But the position of the print sounds interesting. Maybe there was a scuffle and she was grappled it from them, and you would see that the position wasn't such that she was holding it normally. Let's ask about both, but let's start with the position. Please tell the court about the position of the prints on the lighter. They are around the same spot on either side as they would be if she were holding it up. I suppose if it was used to light the room, it would be held that way. Could you please add that statement to your testimony? Prints were placed just the way they would be if someone were holding it. It doesn't really look like that from here, right? Because her prints were only found in the blood? Which would mean she was holding it from, like, the side here, which is not how you would hold a lighter. Maybe that's what they want me to get at here? But I'm just going to try adding the other one first. How about the number of prints? So how many prints were found exactly? 3. The thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger of the right hand. Your Honor, that is an important statement. Could we please have it? So we'll opt into my testimony. You got it. Oh, he beat me to it. Be investigating or testifying. Speed is the key. Was this game released after the speed is key meme? It's a Jacksepticeye thing, right? Yeah, Jacksepticeye was saying that. I mean, he does say speed is the key, not speed is key. But I mean, I doubt he coined the phrase, but I know it was a big meme when he was saying it, and that was in 2014. This game was 2016, so... that would be funny if that's what that was a reference to. Anywho, a right hand. So they've very obviously pointed that out, and I think didn't we say, I can't remember now, but I think the photograph or his statement was that the lighter was in their left hand. So I think that's what we want to put here, right? I was gonna push on the other two, but I don't want to confuse myself now. Although actually, you know what? I'm just curious what we can push on these. Although I think we've got the right one here. This bit of the escape route is only a theory. You don't have any proof. Hold it! Then please tell us more about the circumstances surrounding the ladder. Well, I'd much rather expand upon the topic of justice, but, no, all right. Let's see. What should I ask about? You know what? No, I don't want to ask about any of this now. I think we got the lighter thing. About the lab, though. I'll just ask about that, and then I'll put the lighter one back. Please tell us anything you remember about the lab. The lab, huh? You know, it was so messy, but there was hardly anywhere to step. I guess they were in the middle of building a giant robot. Yeah, that's pretty much how it looked when we visited this afternoon, too. Okay, I know the drill. You want me to add this statement to my testimony, don't you? What? Oh, no, way ahead of you. I'll just add it in. No, please put the other one back. Oh, no, it added both of them. Okay, cool. The middle fingers of a right hand. I think it's fair for me to put the statement there, right? Because it says they held the lighter in their left hand, right? Objection! You say the prints were from a right hand, is that correct? That's right. Very clear, Prince. But that just doesn't add up. Huh? What doesn't add up? According to Miss Blackwell, who saw the culprit herself, this person held the lighter in their left hand. Oh? So here's the dilemma before us. Why are the prints on the lighter from a right hand instead of a left? Right. It doesn't make sense, does it? Your Honor, this lighter can hardly be called incriminating evidence. The witness's claims don't even hold water. Detective Fulbright, I hope you have a good explanation for this. I just can't understand it. They're definitely right-hand prints. But then, why are they inconsistent with Miss Blackwell's statement? I've got it! What have you got, Detective? The mirror! The witness must have seen a reflection of the culprit in a mirror. I had some idea he was going to say there was a mirror reflection. Was there a mirror in that room? Where was the mirror? Go on! Miss Blackwell was looking into the window of boarding lounge 1, wasn't she? I believe so. If you mean the little window in the back and to the right of the room. That's right! And across the room on the opposite wall. I don't remember that being there. It's a large mirror. I do remember seeing it. So are you saying... Yes, the culprit Miss Blackwell saw must have been a reflection of that person in the mirror. How does that work? How would you see them but not the real one? Wouldn't you just see two? As if they were around a wall or something. But in a dark room, you would see both, surely. I see. In that case, right and left would have appeared reversed, wouldn't they? Now do you see? That's the logic of pure justice. Objection! But your argument is only conjecture. You don't have any proof that what Miss Blackwell saw was a reflection. Silence. Right, don't know. You'd sooner nick yourself than him like that. Put some more muscle into it. Huh? That's right. Besides, the lighter couldn't have been in the left hand. And why not? Miss Blackwell said she saw an Earth emblem on the lighter, didn't she? The emblem is only on one side of the lighter. You're right. There's no emblem on the other side. Exactly. As blank and smooth as the judge's fine scalp. If the culprit had held the lighter in their left hand, they would have covered the emblem. Uh-oh. What's more, this is the kind of lighter that you flick open with your thumb before lighting. So if the culprit had held it in their left hand with the emblem out and visible, they wouldn't have been able to open it, let alone light it. Yes, because they would be holding the back with their thumb. Gotcha. But if they had held it in their right hand, they could easily open it and light it. This all means that the culprit was definitely holding the lighter in their right hand. No! Come back, my beautiful contradiction. They did give us a lot of other points to push on, so it's perhaps this one's just not one, it's just a red herring for now. And there are going to be a bunch of them that don't add up to anything. It appears you planted a flower that bears no fruit. See how it withers before my flower of justice? He's tough. He's managed to discredit almost everything I've proven up to this point. In justice we trust! Now do you see? I'm not this phantom you've been talking about. I mean, are you sure there really is a spy? I bet they're just a figment of your mad imagination. Oh, it's so sad, so very sad, but I'm afraid Miss Cykes is the culprit. Oh, was that actually what I was supposed to push on to protect Chris, though? Hold it! Detective Wright, I believe you said that the emblem is only on one side of the lighter. Are you sure about that? Of course I'm sure. Why don't you take a look for yourself and see? Do you see an Earth emblem on both sides of the lighter? Oh, is the other side going to be all bloody or something? I knew it. You're lying, Detective. Pardon me? You mean... Yes, my bracelet reacted to his statement about the emblem. He's definitely hiding something big. And I think if I use my talent, I might be able to figure it out. Justice Zono, are you to use that cheat of yours again? Is that cheating, Prosecutor Blackwell? Very well. Whether I like it or not, I suppose we should use whatever works right now. Go on, then. What does it matter to you? We got Prosecutor Blackwell's reluctant blessing, apparently. Okay, Apollo, you're up. Here goes, then. Detective Fulbright, could you repeat that last statement one more time? Oh, that's good. For a minute, I thought there that it was going to be like... There were going to be like 6 different testimonies you could swap in, and only one of them, and you have to work through all of them. But it seems like we actually got an important one that time. What in the world are you up to? All right, fine. I'll say it as many times as you like. Listen carefully. The Earth emblem is only on the side that you can see when held in the right hand. I did not press that, you game. Don't be silly. It's gonna be something with his hands. I did not see it this time. I'm going to focus on his face for the entire thing this time. His gaze is piercing my soul, but that is fine because I need to find his habit. Otherwise, we will not find out who the killer is, because that is the only option now. I have to shut up now. Gotcha! His thumb did it. Aha! I spy a nervous tick. A tick? Maybe I should squash it then. That's not the kind of tick I had in mind. Could you please repeat your statement? I'll say it as many times as you like. Listen carefully. The Earth emblem is on... Oh. I guess they want me to... Sorry, I guess I wasn't focusing on the thumb closely enough. Sorry. It's the thumb. It's the thumb. Gotcha! Thank God I didn't lose my health for that, because I would have been so dumb, considering I found it. Detective Fulbright, you might not be aware of it yourself, but whenever you say the phrase, the Earth emblem, your left thumb moves. In fact, it appears as though you're running it along the edge of your holster. Mr. Lawyer, I don't have the foggiest notion of what you're talking about. Be that as it may, I know it has something to do with the lighter. Let me examine it. But, wow, you're not making any sense. You can't just... Silence. Wait. Hang on. How stupid am I? I could have sworn Phoenix said earlier. You're right, there's no emblem on the other side. So Phoenix did just examine it, but now we're asking to examine it again? Phoenix just didn't look very close, I guess? It's gonna be like covered with blood on the other side or something like that. Be still and do as you're told, Fulbright. If you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't mind them having a look-see, should you? What? Not you too, Prosecutor Blackwell. How have you not clued in that Blackwell wants the spy found by now? I'm not sure what this is all about, but if Prosecutor Blackwell insists it must be something important, I will allow the defense to examine the lighter. Good. Now maybe we'll learn something new. I hope so. Well, let's check every inch of this thing. Right, I want to check the back where the emblem was said to be or not be, by the way. Ah, okay. What nonsense were you saying that there were only 3 prints, by the way? This looks like 16 prints. And the bottom of a hand and everything. Yeah, I spy 1 print here, hand-shaped markings here, and here, and here. That's like at least 4. Anyway, this side of it. It's covered with blood. Say, do you notice anything funny about this blood stain? You're right, it suddenly breaks off unnaturally. Supposedly the lighter was held with the right hand so that the emblem was visible. So the print should be around the emblem and on the lid where you open it. Sorry, that was Apollo who just said that. You're right, there's definitely something off here. And the lid? Anything here? I don't see anything usual about the top of the lid. But Detective Fulbright's words were definitely hiding something. Let's look for something that has to do with what he said. Oh, that's why I was looking at the emblem, but we'll look at the emblem, bit of the emblem now. So this is the Earth emblem Detective Fulbright was talking about. See anything noteworthy? Well, it mentions the moon, which is interesting, but nothing else comes to mind. Huh? Hey, look at this! The emblem is actually some kind of button! Oh. To turn it into a gun! Jaw drop, hit, floor moment. Wow! It transformed into something. A handle, a trigger. Is this what I think it is? There's no question, it seems. What you have there is a gun. What? A gun, Your Honor. It's the thing that hurts people. A gun? So that's it. Your Honor, please recall this morning's trial when Dr. Cosmos was on the stand. The bullet that hit the oxygen tank was extremely small, maybe a 10 caliber. This little compact gun probably takes bullets of that caliber. It looks like this is the gun that was fired at the scene. I'm flabbergasted. The lighter was a gun. But it also surely works as a lighter if that's what Aura saw. So when Detective Fulbright would touch his holster. That's right, whenever he mentioned the Earth emblem, he must have subconsciously thought about the secret behind that lighter. In other words, he knew it was a gun from the very beginning. A lighter that transforms into a gun seems like a spy gadget to me. It's not the kind of thing any ordinary person can get their hands on. In fact, I'd say it's strictly in the domain of elite spies. Detective Fulbright, you will explain yourself. There's nothing for me to explain. I didn't know the lighter could transform. I mean, it was found in the Space Museum and then I brought it straight in. I didn't even have time to check it out. Objection! Objection! Whenever you mentioned the Earth emblem, he touched your holster. He subconsciously did that because he knew it was a gun. Accuse me all you want, but where's your proof? Do you have any evidence that I knew the lighter was a gun? Not exactly. And whose prints are on it? Miss Cykes' prints. It proves that she's the culprit who fired the gun at the scene. It would appear that detective is right. Are you guys really trying to prove your client innocent or what? Although it pains me to do this, now that we are where we are, I have to make the following assertions coming from the prosecution's side. Ah, but this is where he's going to testify again and more lies will show up, doubtless. The person who fired the gun at Director Cosmos in the lounge after the incident, and the person Ms. Blackwell saw holding the lighter, and the person who murdered Mr. Terran, and the person who bombed the Space Center. Are all the defendant Athena Cykes. The prints in the lighter are decisive proof. No! Now do you see? A man on the side of justice couldn't possibly be the culprit. And I think this about sums up Miss Cykes' part of the whole affair. The evidence certainly does seem to point to the defendant's guilt. Do you have anything to say, Prosecutor Blackwell? Evidence is everything in court. Therefore, Fulbright's claims stand firm. But... Calm down, Apollo. He's just saying that because he asked to as the prosecutor. Mr. Lawyer, our job is to pursue criminals in the name of justice. You shouldn't cast suspicion on people based on something as dubious as a habit. In fact, you have a bad habit of showing up in court with an awful case of bedheads. Objection! Objection! It says the man who wears sunglasses at night. If it's proof you want, it's proof you'll get. I'll prove that this lighter's not Miss Cykes', but yours! Sounds like you've hit on something, Apollo. It's just, if the prints in the lighter are basis for accusing Athena, I think we should reconsider the credibility of the evidence itself. You mean you think this lighter might be forged evidence? That's right. It could all be part of Fulbright's bigger plot. Did he do anything out of the ordinary while I was off on my own? For Fulbright? I don't know. There is no out of the ordinary. Anything goes with him. I can definitely think of a few things. It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter? Detective, we'd like to run a comparison on some prints we found in the boarding lounge. Ah, yes, I just happen to have compiled the print data of everyone related to this case. I can always make another copy for myself, so it's all yours. Consider it a gift. If you assume he's been laying a big trap for us all along, there's gotta be something off about this piece of evidence. What's wrong with the lighter as a piece of evidence? The owner of the prints, where the prints are on it, is how the prints were left on it. Well, I don't get to examine it again, so it's hard to say, but I also my health bar isn't showing up here. I mean, whose prints are on it seems wrong, obviously. My health isn't showing up here, so you know what? I want to save here, because if I lose health after this, even though it didn't tell me my health bar was here, I think that's worth a load, because that's garbage and I hate it. The owner of the prints! But I think the other two are suspect as well. Are they really Athena's fingerprints? They definitely match her print data. But he was the one who brought the print data up. But what about the data itself? Detective Fulbright, you were the one who provided us with the lighter and print data. Isn't that correct? Yes? What about it? You say Miss Cykes' prints match the print data. But I have to wonder, was the data you used official? Mr. Wright, are you suggesting that the evidence might have been fabricated? I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's re-examine the prints. Using the official sanctioned print data of the people involved in this case. What? You dare insult the epitome of justice and integrity? There's no need for such antics. Silence. Your Honor, I lend my voice to the defense's request. You must allow the test to be rerun. Very well then, bailiff. Ooh. It appears that the official data is here. And the results? It's just as the defense claims. This proves that the prints on the lighter do not belong to the defendant. Yes! The fingerprints actually belong to the victim, Mr. Pt.TERMINUS. Well, that's also interesting. The lighter can then transform into the handgun. It has Pt.TERMINUS' fingerprints and blood on it. Interesting again was my old crackpot theory that Terran was somehow the bomber from 7 years ago when he was a kid, and then he was the bomber this time but got killed by someone else. Holding more water here? Or what is going on here? They were Clay's fingerprints on the lighter? Ah, I see. Come to think of it, wasn't it you, Fulbright, who collected the victim's prints? I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity after all. When you took the deceased's fingerprints, you could have easily planted his prints on the lighter with his blood, after which you wiped the blood off his hand. By your own admission, you were also the one who compiled the phony print data, all to put the blame on Miss Cykes. What are you doing here, Fulbright? This play must have been to distract us from the Phantom who was behind everything. You were out to create the impression that the Phantom wasn't the true culprit. So does this mean Detective Fulbright really is the Phantom? Remember the killer's escape route. No ordinary person would have been fearless enough to attempt it. Nobody but the Phantom, the man with no emotions, could have done it. I mean, he seems to be expressing emotion now, but he could also be faking it, I guess. Even still. Detective Fulbright, you were the only one who could have used the escape route. Fulbright, are you really the Phantom? If he isn't, he's acting really weird, for no reason. Like suddenly changing his tune about Athena and everything. Answer me, or so help me I will slash you to tiny slivers while you stand. All right, I'll talk. I confess. I'm not the Phantom. Silence! It's all over. Now be a man and admit it already. But I'm not a spy. I'm an undercover investigator. I've actually been after the Phantom myself. An undercover investigator? That sounds less than wholesome to me. A person who hides his identity and secretly investigates in order to uncover information. And that's what you really are, Fulbright. That's right. I was working to track down the Phantom, but sadly, even though I was supposed to catch the spy ended up catching me. He took my family hostage and forced me to cooperate with them. I knew it! I knew it made more sense that he was being threatened. Well, I can't say I knew it. It was among my higher-ranking theories. What? Objection! You're telling us this now? But if what you say is true, then who was the mystery person Miss Blackwell and Mr. Starbuck saw? It was the Phantom, I tell you! All I did was help him by having that emergency ladder lowered for him. Objection! I don't believe you. And how do you explain the fabricated lighter? That was also one of the Phantom's demands. Being the detective in charge of the case, it was easy for me to fabricate evidence. Beating the crime on Athena Cykes was just another one of the Phantom's orders. You expect me to buy that?
Fulbright, what was the Phantom's ultimate objective?
I figured that made them more sense than him being the Phantom, because why else would we have found him sulking by himself in that corridor, right? Like, it would have been, if you were the Phantom, pretending to sulk in the corridor by yourself until Athena and Phoenix came around would just be like, that's like a Moriarty level of plan. I was told it was to sabotage the rocket launch. Someone who didn't want the launch to happen must have given him the order. Actually, I have to apologize to you too. The Phantom told me to get close to you. He ordered me to get back that psych profile you have on him.
So, he sent a buzzard of his own to tail me this past year, did he?
I haven't been a champion of justice. I've just been a pawn of evil. A pawn of the Phantom who stole the moon and rock and killed Dr. Cykes 7 years ago. At least you're owning up to it now, man. That does make me happy that it isn't him.
Enough, Fulbright. Just tell us the Phantom's true identity.
I don't know. He was very careful to hide it. He has top secret information for all kinds of corporations and countries, so there's a number of organizations that want him dead. If people believed I was the Phantom, I could be killed on the spot. I bet even now... There are assassins lurking nearby. This case is about the Phantom after all.
The ceiling blown off, I suppose you're vulnerable to a sniper's shot in this courtroom.
Just 2 seconds ago, Wright was treating Athena like a criminal. Does he really think he's gonna lie his way out of it now? But on the surface, everything does seem to make sense. This could be bad, Mr. Wright, if we can't find a flaw in his logic. He's right, after we come all this way, we can't let Fulbright wriggle free now. There! I finally told the truth. Oh wait, we're going back to maybe he is the... Oh man, sorry, I'm I look like a real idiot now if he wasn't telling the truth just now. Now I hope you see how foolish it was to think I was the Phantom. Oh shit, oh, it was him. His face just changed big time. Oh god. You're an intelligent man, Prosecutor Blackwell. You believe me, right? Damn it, I got drawn in by his lies again.
I believe you. I don't think you're the Phantom.
What? How can you say that, Prosecutor Blackwell? It's obvious he's the Phantom.
Silence. It wasn't obvious to me. Silence. Evidence is everything, right, Dono? And you must admit there's no clear evidence that Fulbright is the Phantom.
Yes, as I recall, the only solid proof we've seen up to this point is the fact that Detective Fulbright fabricated evidence. But...
I've known Fulbright here for a year now, and all this time he's been quite intent on rehabilitating me. I don't believe his efforts were a lie.
Prosecutor Blackwell!
This fool truly thought he could reform a death row inmate like me. He went so out of his way in his efforts for me, he actually became quite a nuisance, really.
Prosecutor Blackwell, you believe me? Please tell me Prosecutor Blackwell hasn't really been taken in by this big phony.
However, even if it was against your will, you still acted as the Phantom's accomplice. You'll have to pay the price for that. Throw yourself at my mercy and don't you ever betray me again. Have you got that?
Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Such a bond of trust is a rare and beautiful thing. In any case, it looks like everything has been resolved. I can now hand down a not guilty verdict with confidence. Very good, I'm glad to hear it. It's all over. Everything's been cleaned up and Miss Cykes will go free as well. Mr. Wright, we can't let the trial end here. If we do, the Phantom, the man who killed Clay, will get away. I know, but... What do I do? I don't have any proof that Detective Fulbright is the Phantom. Is this it? Is he gonna get away just like that? Now, if you'll excuse me, my next investigation awaits. And with that, I'm off! Hold it! The defense... no, wait, not the defense. The defendant feels it's not time for a verdict yet and would like to see this trial continue. What? But I was just about to declare you innocent of all charges. It just doesn't feel right to be standing here. Hey, Apollo, think I could scooch over? Athena, what are you doing? Hope you don't get held in contempt of court. Some questions for you, Detective Fulbright. Are you relieved that you are no longer under suspicion of being the Phantom? Are you grateful to Prosecutor Blackwell for what he's done for you? Of course I am, and I'm truly grateful from the bottom of my heart. Athena, where are you going along with these accusations? She's gonna check his emotions. Hard though they'll probably be to read. I've yet to hear a single emotion behind any of Detective Fulbright's words, boss. The suspicion against him has been cleared all up, but he's not feeling happy at all. What? Does that mean... He may not only have evidence, we may not have any evidence, but the heart doesn't lie. That's it. With your special ability, we just might be able to stop him. Your Honor, the detective has been deeply traumatized by our accusations. Yes, well, even before all this, I thought he was a rather odd fellow. If he doesn't get counseling right away, who knows what might happen to him? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you believe the nonsense the defense is spouting?
Fulbright, I think you'd better have that counseling.
Not you too.
You've been making batty remarks ever since you were accused of being the Phantom. Such as, you're an undercover investigator, and your family has been taken hostage. I fear you might have finally lost it.
But I thought you believed me.
Silence. Oh, how you amuse me so.
What's going on here? That was an excellent bit of psychological manipulation just now, Simon. The first bit of believable psychological manipulation in this whole game, I would have said.
Oh, I knew you would catch on, Athena.
Huh? Mind filling me in here? Guess we left you in the dust, huh, Mr. Wright? Simon was only pretending to believe Detective Fulbright because he knew that I'd noticed if there was a lack of emotions like joy or relief in his response. So he gave me the chance to take a listen. And listen I did to the voice of Detective Fulbright's heart. What? You two were working together just now?
Come now, Athena. Show us what's inside Fulbright's heart.
You got it. Time to check the instant replay. Which is one of me. Let's do this. Ding! Beep, beep.
Not a hint of emotion anywhere, is that it?
Thank you for believing me, Prosecutor Blackwell. I'm an undercover investigator, but the Phantom was coercing me. He stole the moon rock and killed Dr. Cykes 7 years ago. I'm a bad person for cooperating with such a man. But he took me family hostage. What else could I do? No emotion anywhere. Even with all his over-the-top expressions and gestures, he's registering no emotion at all? It's just like I thought, and right in line with the Phantom psych profile. How? What's with the watch? Detective Fulbright, the lack of emotion proves you're the Phantom. Hey, what's going on? Wait, hold it! What do you think you're doing, Detective? He's about to break Widget? Me? I'm not doing anything. He's trying to hack into the Moon Matrix program. I can't do anything with it like this.
Fancy device you have there, but I'll tolerate no cheating, thank you.
Oh good, I thought for a minute he was gonna create a bunch of false emotions and we were gonna have to find which ones didn't make sense, because if he doesn't feel emotion like normal people, maybe he would get it wrong. Sorry about that. As an undercover agent, I tend to use my secret arsenal without even thinking. More like as a spy. Thanks, Prosecutor Blackwell. There, now that you can't hack me anymore, I dare you to try to hide your lack of emotions from us. Lack of emotion? What are you talking about? Of course I have feelings. As a matter of fact, you wounded me very deeply with that accusation. What's going on? All of a sudden, I'm getting an overwhelmingly happy reading. Huh? But he's literally crying us a river over there. Oops, my mistake. How about this? Gah! Yikes! Now he's angry all of a sudden? What's he trying to pull?
Like as not, it would appear our friend is not completely without emotion. It's just as it says in Dr. Cykes' profile, the Phantom. Subject has a unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation.
Oh, I get it. So he has some emotions, right?
Precisely, which leaves me to wonder why you can't sense any emotions from him at all. I believe it's most likely because he is controlling his emotions. That's how it seems. Very good, Prosecutor Blackwell. You are correct. It's the result of my daily training. A very important skill for us undercover investigators, you know. Or like for us spies. Seriously. But I wonder why he suddenly showed several strong emotions. To cover up the fact that he was seemingly feeling no emotion a minute ago. Wait a minute. I think I know. I sense there's a feeling you're trying to hide with your exaggerated emotions, Detective. A feeling I'm trying to hide? That's a good one. You're the ones who've been saying I'm the Phantom because I don't have any emotions. I was just trying to show you the range of deep emotions I truly possess. And you have no objections to me analyzing you, right? No. Analyze away. But I will state it again. I am not the Phantom. And be forewarned that your analysis will have no effect because you're about to see what an undercover agent can really do. Alright, here. Yeah, we are going to get in some... Alright, it's me, the Phantom. Oh, whoa, oh no! Me, the Phantom? No way. Oh, I'm so sad. See, I told you I have emotions. So I have to hit a happy one when it's there, right? Got it! Maybe this? I don't think so. I've never seen a person in such a chaotic emotional state. But there has to be something here, I just know it. It might be a long shot, but if there really is a real emotion mixed in here somewhere, then it's possible it would be the one emotion that doesn't disappear. The one that doesn't disappear, huh? Well, give it another look then. Oh, I see. I thought the point was that I could say he was happy while he's saying he's sad. Sadness is staying pretty consistent here. Got it! Maybe he was sad that he didn't get the moon rock? Is that the idea? Because it was, how dare you accuse me of being someone who would kill over a moon rock. I found it! I found the one emotion you're truly feeling. What? Hidden in the middle of that chaotic storm, I saw one emotion that never disappeared. When you talked about the moon rock, you felt a fear that wouldn't fade. Fear? Huh? A fear that a man with hardly any emotions feels, huh? And it was a response to that moon rock. Detective Fulbright, I presume you feel fear concerning the moon rock because you failed to steal it. You tried but failed to steal the moon rock. That stain on your career as a spy has left you feeling afraid. But the moon rock did indeed disappear from the laboratory, but it ended up back in the courtroom. And I'd hardly think a person who feels so little would fear over a thing like that. Don't everyone jump on the Phoenix hype train all at once now. Then the topic of what a spy might fear most come up in discussions earlier being uncovered. I go, okay, fine, your identity will be revealed. Of course, that's it. Enough, Fulbright. Just tell us the Phantom's true identity. I don't know. He was very careful to hide it. He has top secret information for all kinds of corporations and countries, so there's a number of organizations that want him dead. If people believed I was the Phantom, I could be killed on the spot. Why, I bet even now there are assassins lurking nearby. This case is about the Phantom, after all. Detective Fulbright, I think I know why you would feel afraid. You're afraid that the moon rock will somehow reveal your identity. If his identity were revealed, he would be killed immediately. And that's certainly enough to make even the Phantom feel afraid. Me? Afraid? I don't know what you're talking about. So there really is something about the moon rock that would reveal his identity. But he has, like, I mean, he's saying, oh, it's because I'm an undercover agent, but, like, he's now admitting that he rarely has feelings and can control them at will, and doesn't experience them like normal people do, so that's the Phantom psych profile. I don't understand how he's getting away with this even this far, but... So there really is something about the moon rock that reveals identity. Apparently so. Wait a minute. Maybe the Phantom didn't so much steal the moon rock, but more like had to take it with him? Because there was something on it that would reveal his true identity, his fingerprints or something, I guess. And that's why he would want it blown up, I guess. And that's why he needs Athena gone, because... The earring? Maybe I'm going on a limb there. Hold it! Where do you think you're going? Me? I'm not going anywhere. Is it just me, or was he going to use that weird watch thing to try and get away? How many more of those toys does he have? And we're gonna get myself some... Detective Fulbright, you will answer honestly to this court right now! Why do you feel fear in connection with the moon rock? In justice, we trust! Not emotions, Mr. Lawyer. Evidence is everything. I'm the Phantom because I'm afraid? Don't make me laugh. And what was that just now? But all human beings have hearts and experience emotions. Sometimes analyzing a case from the psychological perspective is the best way to find the truth. It's all just a waste of time. All your efforts at analysis serve no purpose. And now, in this dark age of the law, nobody would believe your claim that's effective. In an era where evidence is fabricated, do you truly expect feelings to be accepted as proof? And where exactly is your proof that I fear this moon rock anyway? Well, I mean, I don't have any conventional proof, but I still say that examining a person's heart has its merits. Oh, really? Then why don't you listen carefully with those special ears of yours? Listen to the voices of the hearts of the people in the gallery. Oh, don't do that to her. She's gonna get overwhelmed really fast. All I hear is distrust. As you can see, the people are on my side, because all they see is a strange little girl using a weird little machine. But it's not like I use analytical psychology to falsely accuse people. Uh-oh, he's got Athena doubting herself. Miss Cykes' analytical psychology has breathed new life into the courtroom. It has freed the hearts of many witnesses and has been key in getting to the truth. What nonsense! Your Honor, the defense's claim is a false one. I don't feel any kind of fear when it comes to the moon rock. I see. Very well, I will give the opinion of this court. In a trial, I don't feel that a person's emotions are quite as compelling as actual evidence is. But Your Honor... There, you see, nobody believes you in your trumped-up charges. However, I do believe that Miss Cykes' analyses can contribute to making the truth clear. I have seen her do this firsthand several times already. Thank God, Your Honor. Surely you jest. So does this mean you will accept my findings in this trial, Your Honor? Yes, I believe your claim, Miss Cykes. I think there is merit in examining why the witness feels fear in regard to the moon rock. That is the court's opinion on this matter. And that's a win for me. No, a win for analytical psychology. Now, Mr. Phantom, you will tell this court the reason for your fear. Analytical psychology. My fears. Fine. I'll show you precisely why those abstract things can't be considered evidence. That's new. We didn't used to do that. Witness testimony. My fear of the moon rock. Up tempo is good. I felt fear when I thought about the moon rock because it reminded me of the Phantom. Yes, I'm very afraid of him because he took my family hostage. What reason would the Phantom have to be afraid of the moon rock? Not at all. So the very fact that I'm afraid of the moon rock means I'm not him. In fact, I'm on the side of justice. And there you have it. Now do you see why I'm afraid of the moon rock? Sure, you sound convincing enough. But so does any two-bit con artist. It's all meaningless in the absence of evidence. The Phantom is like the mist. No flesh, no bones. My sword alone cannot cut it right, Donna. With your deductive reasoning and the body of evidence before us, let us send this miserable Phantom fellow into the other world together. You and I, Prosecutor Blackwell. We have a duty to bring this Phantom down and restore the people's faith in the courts. Indeed. By covering for Athena, I allowed the Phantom to escape. And as a prosecutor, I gave birth to the people's mistrust with my murder conviction. I bear part of the responsibility as well. For being suspected of forging evidence and losing my attorney's badge as a result. The two of us and the Phantom were there at the beginning of the dark age of the law. Then it is also our burden to cut away the foul specter we created, is it not? Until all that remains is the righteousness of the court and the faith of the people. Trust, understanding, fragile ideals of the masses who are controlled by emotion. Humans can't truly trust each other, which is exactly why the illusion of trust is so enticing. Objection! Once two people overcome their misgivings, that's where real trust is to be found. You're free to believe what you want, but trust like that is stronger than you and your lies. Always! Cross-examination. I'm ready! My fear of the moon rock. Blackwell made it sound like we would have to present evidence here, but I just want to see what Athena and Apollo have to say about this. I felt fear when I thought about the moon rock because it reminded me of the Phantom. Yes, I'm very afraid of him because he took my family hostage. What reason would the Phantom have to be afraid of the moon rock? None at all. So the very fact that I'm afraid of the moon rock means I'm not him. This seems important. I want to push on this in a bit, but in fact, I'm on the side of justice. Detective Fulbright, or rather the Phantom, feels fear in regard to the moon rock. It probably has something to do with being afraid that his true identity will be revealed. Right, so that's why the Phantom had to take the moon rock with him 7 years ago. In that case, if we had something to show the real cause of Fulbright's fear, we just might be able to expose its true identity. I'm gonna push on this one here. What reason would the Phantom have to be afraid of the moon rock? None at all. Hold it! Because it seems like that's the crux of this. You can't think of a single reason that the Phantom might be afraid of the rock. I thought the Phantom wasn't even supposed to have any feelings. How can someone like me with my wealth of emotions be expected to understand the guy? The Phantom, a person with very few emotions, would only be afraid of something really big, like his cover getting blown big. I'm willing to bet that the moon rock has something to do with his identity, but what? Maybe the Phantom's fingerprints are on the rock. That's what I thought. My fingerprints can be wiped off. Man, maybe he wanted the rock so bad he literally drooled on it and left his DNA? We're dealing with a spy here, Athena, not a slob. True. Maybe the DNA part isn't too far off. His blood! From when Athena stabbed him. Huh? Something unexpected happened to him during the incident 7 years ago. I just know I have something that can show why the Phantom is afraid of the moon rock. I'll just continue with my testimony while you're pondering then, if you don't mind. I can't just present the knife here, though, can I? Gasp! The earring? No, he wouldn't have known that it had moon rock in it. Okay, this is tricky because the way Phoenix said that made it very clear that we're talking about the knife here. That the unexpected thing that happened to him was that he got stabbed, right? And then his blood is all over the knife. I don't know if I can present this here, though, because... Is that what they're getting at? I think this is what they're trying to get at, is that she stabbed him and then maybe she was covered in head to toe in blood, right? So there's a chance that blood on her earring was Fulbright's, but, I mean... I don't know that I can just present either of these there. I'm going to push in some other stuff first and see if anything else funky comes up. I felt fear when I thought about the moon rock because it reminded me of the Phantom. Hold it! It only reminded you of the Phantom. Don't make me laugh. You are the Phantom! Evidence is everything in a court of law, or did you forget? I was forced to testify over a silly thing like feelings, but those tactics won't work from here on out. You need real evidence! I hate to admit it, but he's right. Yes, I'm very afraid of him because he took my family hostage. Hold it! Your family. Like who in your family specifically? Oh, I don't know, like, maybe my lover, for example? For example? Maybe? We need a more concrete answer than that. Maybe, my mother, my son, or my daughter. Maybe it was all of them. I'm so sad and worried. I miss him so much. He's obviously lying. Look how upset I am. Isn't it any wonder I follow the Phantom's orders? I mean, Your Honor? That's pretty incriminating, no? So the very fact that I'm afraid of the moon rock means I'm not him. Hold it! And how afraid are you exactly? I'm so scared I start to shake even when I see the moon in the sky. Do you shake when you see Miss Cykes' earring? Well, to be honest, since the very first time I met Miss Cykes, I felt more than a little frightened of her. I guess some people just inspire that much fear in others. Mr. Wright, you were thinking something mean-spirited and rude, weren't you? Of course not. Must beef up my breeding defenses. Now do you understand? The very fact that I'm afraid of the moon rock proves that, in fact, I'm on the side of justice. Hold it! After all that you've done, how dare you speak the word justice? In justice we trust. I'll say it as much as I want and with absolute confidence. Whatever I say is just, is just. That's how it works in this dark age of the law. He won't get the best of me with that twisted argument of his. I'll find a way to get him right where I want him. The blood, it's the only thing I can think is to put the knife on this middle one here, but we have to be extremely careful. It's either the knife or the earring, but the earring is a little less, Screw it! I gotta be brave! I'm pretty sure this is it. What reason would the Phantom have to be afraid of the moon rock? None at all? Objection! Oh, thank God. Detective Fulbright, I assume you know what this is. Of course! That's the knife the Phantom used to kill Pt.TERMINUS. That's right. And the exact same type of knife Miss Cykes used 7 years ago when she stabbed the Phantom's hand. Yes, that was discussed earlier, as I recall. He dodged it first time, I only got his clothes, but I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Miss Cykes then stated that she remembers the culprit bleeding. It's my theory that the culprit's got blood got on the moon rock, and he was afraid that if the blood was analyzed, his true identity would be revealed. That explains why the Phantom had to remove the moon rock from the crime scene. You mean if we ran the analysis now, we'd know who the Phantom is? Yes, I suppose so, but unfortunately the moon rock in question is missing. That may be so, but I'm certain I can explain what happened to it in great detail. You can? Of course not. You don't actually expect us to believe that, do you? Because you don't fool me. What this court needs is a bully-free zone. Phoenix hates bullies. Ah, the infamous sword of the beguiling bluff. Its edge is without compare. Come now, ready with me and show us just how finely it cuts. Your Honor, this is an outrage. Oh, I mean, this is an outrage. Go on, Raidono. We'll start with something that's been bothering me for a while. The culprit supposedly removed the moon rock from the lab, but in this video of him, it's nowhere to be seen. Oh, you're right! But here's something to consider. What if the Phantom hid the moon rock somewhere at the scene of the crime? The capsule! Okay, I think I was right about this. And that's why when it was brought to the courtroom, it exploded, and now we found it among the shrapnel. Get thinking, boss. Security was super tight at the Space Center back then.
All that, in spite of the space center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even smuggle a wizard leaf through those checkpoints.
Does this mean that the moon rock is still somewhere in the Space Center? Hey, in the name of justice, I proclaim that's impossible. If he were smart, he would have let us just try and think about that one for a bit. And why is that? The Space Center was searched from top to bottom, and especially the lab, but the moon rock was never found. Yeah, how could I forget about that? Not to worry, Phoenix, we found shrapnel of it in the bomb a while ago. A sad but true fact. We still haven't a grasp on how it was done, but the Phantom made the moon rock vanish into the ether. There's no way it just disappeared. Logic and evidence tells us otherwise. The Phantom didn't have the moon rock on him when he left the lab, yet a thorough police search didn't turn up anything, and it never turned up in the 7 years after that either. So what, Phoenix? Could have been, if he didn't leave the lab with it, it was either hucked out the window or left in the lab somewhere. If it were hucked out the window, police would have found it. So we know it was in the lab up until, but at some point was removed prior to the whole place being searched top to bottom once we found it was missing. But the day after that was when the capsule was launched into space. So, but it was already long gone into space by then. Back into space, that is. The Phantom made the rock disappear without physically removing it himself, but how? There must have been a way. Think, Phoenix, think. How did the moon rock vanish from the robotics lab? So, can you not show what happened to the moon rock, Mr. Wright? Yes, I can, Your Honor. What? Oops, sorry, I mean, what? In that case, let's have your answer, Mr. Wright. How did the Phantom make the moon rock disappear from the crime scene? Take that! That's the Hope capsule, right? The one that went up with the Hat 1 rocket? He couldn't carry the rock out, but he couldn't leave it in the center to be found either. So there was only one safe place to stash it. The Hope capsule that was there in the lab that day. It surprises me they wouldn't have noticed the weight difference in it, but yeah. Yes, and the team must have loaded it onto the Hope space probe eventually, but if that's what happened, then the moon rock would have been launched up into space along with the rocket. Preposterous! It would mean that for these past 7 years the moon rock was... Exactly. The Phantom got rid of the moon rock in the most cosmic way he knew how. It was out there in the depths of space. Aboard the Hope space probe! What?! Order in the court! I understand now. The Phantom's original scheme was to sabotage the Hat 1 anyway. The villain! He used his primary objective to conveniently kill two birds with one stone. Right, but it didn't actually get destroyed. Because the miracle. That's right, he planned for the moon rock to be turned into cosmic dust out in space, thereby destroying the one piece of evidence that could reveal his true identity. Oh, okay, that tracks now. Mr. Starbuck and the others foiled the Phantom's plot. The Hope space probe sailed off safely on its mission and returned 7 years later. With the capsule in tow. If we analyze the blood on the moon rock, it should make one thing crystal clear, that you were the Phantom all along, Detective Fulbright. So he killed Clay just so we could get the moon rock back? I believe so. His original assignment may have been just to sabotage the Hat too, but at the same time he also had to retrieve the evidence of his crime 7 years ago. That's why he went to the boarding lounge and attacked Clay as he made his escape out of the rocket with the capsule. But in the end it was all he could do just to escape himself, so he didn't get the capsule. Clay must have been done everything he could to stop Fulbright. He probably hung onto the capsule for all he was worth until his very last breath. Oh, this is so funny! You make me laugh, you really do! Well, he's totally out of whack now. It's game over for you, Detective Fulbright. Why don't you just admit it was you? There's nothing to admit. I'm Bobby Fulbright, undercover investigator, I tell you. I'm not the Phantom. Blood is on the rocket just as another one of his schemes, a trap. Now I'm not sure what to think. I suppose if the Phantom is a spy with his salt, a trap is not out of the question. Objection! But in that case, you could say anything is a trap. That's what makes a trap a trap. I've been framed into taking the blame for the Phantom. Your Honor, I believe further investigation is in order. Silence. Further investigation.
More like plotting your escape. But no more. I will bring you to justice myself if I must, here and now.
Oh, well, don't get arrested for murder now. I guess it's time to show you just what I'm really capable of. Die, Simon Blackwell! Hey, you guys aren't really...
Hold it.
It looks like I made it just in time. Edgeworth! Oh, I have good news for you, Mr. Wright. I've uncovered some very crucial facts. Did you find something out about the Phantom's true identity? You might say that. I started by looking into the first people on the scene 7 years ago. All three, an employee and 2 officers, were registered in the robot's recognition systems, but none of them looked the least bit like Detective Fulbright. That's not good. But there's more. I've yet to share my most important finding. Mr. Wright, Prosecutor Blackwell, you'd best brace yourselves. Uh-oh. The man you see there before you, Bobby Fulbright, is already long dead. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? An unidentified body that was found a year ago has now been proven to possess Bobby Fulbright's fingerprints.
Then does this mean...
Yes, that the man there is an imposter pretending to be Bobby Fulbright.
An imposter? Then this man... Who in the world is he?
Enough of your trickery. If you will not reveal yourself to us, then I shall do it for you. What the... No!
His face!
Aw, look what you did to my mask.
Mask? What is the meaning of this, witness?
Okay, you got me. I guess I have to show you who I really am now. Stupid twist that. Stupid. But I thought we'd put he in.
Wait, but that's...
Hey, Apollo. Yep, it's me, Solomon Starbuck.
Mr. Starbuck! But that can't be right. You can't really be the Phantom, can you?
Was he not in court the same day as Starbuck? Or is this man just gonna, like, have multiple masks? Is that what's about to happen?
Silence!
Of course not. The real Starbuck was aboard the Hat One, which was said to be destroyed. Yeah, okay, he's got multiple faces. Okay, for a minute I thought it was just a... Okay, got it. Yeah, this is just another mask. I mean, didn't I tell you? I'm an undercover investigator. I can change identities at will. I can be anyone I want.
Objection! Not so fast. I have the Phantom Psych profile right here. If we compile a Psych profile on you and compare the results, it'll prove that you're the Phantom.
Objection. It's time for me to show you the real meaning of the phrase, the end justifies the means.
That voice! Those words!
Oh, Athena. I cannot accept such evidence here, Miss Cykes.
Professor Beans! This is his mask?
I'll take what I want by any means necessary. Now give me that evidence.
Ah! Huh?
Time to take out the trash. Permanently.
How could you?
Now do you see how powerful the end justifies the means can be?
Silence!
How pathetic. You can't even speak without wearing another man's face. Oh, but that's the life of an undercover agent for you. My real face has no meaning or value to me at all. Or perhaps it is really the case that you don't even know who you are anymore. What must you see when you look in a mirror, Mr. Phantom? Not an awful lot, I'd wager. Well, aren't you just the master of psychology, Blackwell? That's right, I don't know who I am. I am always living as someone else for my assignments. I don't remember what my face looks like, or even what my personality was like. My face, memories, personality, beliefs, emotions, and soul. I left them all behind. I have no self. I am no one. I am nothing but an endless abyss.
What's with this guy? Is he even still human?
And now we resume with your lesson, Professor Wright. I believe you made this argument earlier. If you were to analyze the blood on the moon rock, you could prove that I am the Phantom.
I believe there was blood on the moon rock in that capsule. Now that we know you aren't even Bobby Fulbright. Your claims of a phantom trap won't work anymore.
Then why don't you bring this moon rock in? This decisive evidence from the Hope capsule?
I don't know why it's jumping back between saying means and just question mark, question mark, question mark. I think I'll do just that. Get ready because the Hope capsule is about to seal your... Fiat!
It was the courtroom bubbling from the other day. The capsule was there and the courtroom was evidence and was blown to smithereens.
It looks like you have finally caught on. Full marks for the defense for effort. But what a shame your hope was lost in that courtroom explosion.
So that's the real reason the courtroom was blown up. It was all for the Phantom to destroy that one piece of evidence. I can't believe it. Have they really reached the dead end after coming all this way? Has the only evidence we have on this guy really been destroyed?
How dare you continue to call me the Phantom? As I've said all along, I'm just a nameless undercover agent.
Objection! And the defense will continue to assert that you are the Phantom. Furthermore, we have proof. Or at least a prayer. I'm afraid that won't do, Mr. Wright.
At least put some weight behind your swing, I don't know.
I know, I'm trying. There's only one thing that can unmask this menace, the moon rock. But that was blown into the courtroom bombing, and yet is it really gone without a trace? What if some tiny part, some little fragment still exists? Yes, and you can see the stolen moon rock there too. That strange black and yellow thing on the left side of the picture. Very well, Mr. Wright, let's see your proof. What evidence can finally prove the Phantom's identity? Take that! Oh, we really don't have the psych profile anymore. He yoinked it. Isn't that the bomb that blew up the courtroom and the moon rock along with it? Are you saying this will reveal the Phantom's identity? Yes, Your Honor. Focus your attention on this photo taken after the bombing, specifically right here. And on this large red alarm thing. Right there. No, sorry. Take that! Please take a look at this newspaper article. This article is about the Hat 1. Now, please note the strange black and yellow rock there on the left. That's the moon rock. And we look at the photo of the bomb fragments. See how there's a rock-like object with the same coloration? Oh my! Yes, I see it. It would seem that the moon rock was much more durable than the Phantom thought. If we take a look at all the fragments that police found, we'll likely find one with the blood. And DNA testing on that blood will prove the witness is indeed the Phantom. Unbelievable!
But that's impossible. A surprise to be sure. That's one bloody tough rock. Let us have the fragments tested straight away. Oh, and you'll be having a DNA test too, Fulbright.
Bailiff, contact the police department immediately and order the testing. We're not getting out of this without dealing with what Edgeworth told us about the three on the scene, though. Prosecutor Blackwell, what do the test results show?
There was a rock fragment that had blood on it that appeared to be several years old. DNA testing revealed... Well, I'm sure you know full well what it revealed.
Then they converted it with a witness's blood, didn't they? There's no use in trying to talk your way out of it anymore. Admit it! You are the Phantom! Objection! Oh, he's using Phoenix's voice now. Huh? Mr. Wright, did you just raise an objection to yourself? No, that was the Phantom. No, I didn't say a word. That was my objection, Apollo. Huh? Why? It was a pretty good objection, too, don't you think? It's so creepy. I missed my skin crawl. Now it's me. So, did you have an objection or not, Mr. Wright? Huh? No, not really, Your Honor. No, not you, Mr. Wright. I meant the witness, Mr. Wright. Could this trial get any more insane? Mr. Wright, this fragment of rock in the photograph and those just like it.
How can you be sure that they're pieces of the same moon rock that was at the robotics lab? Care to explain what you mean? Well, there may have been a rock or two in the courtroom that had my blood on it. But how do you know they're not just rocks? You can't prove they're the moon rock, right? Objection! Don't be absurd! Just compare the fragment with the moon rock in the newspaper article. Anybody can see they're the same. They have the exact same coloration. Objection! But maybe some other rock with the same coloration happened to be in the courtroom. It's highly unlikely a rock with such a unique appearance just happened to be there. But you can't deny it's a possibility. Objection! But your blood was found on one of the fragments. Apollo, there's nothing suspicious about my blood being on a piece of rock. And why not? I know it sounds like an excuse, but several years ago I tripped and fell in this very courtroom and it was hurt pretty badly. Maybe that's how my blood found its way onto a piece of rubble. Even he must realize how ridiculous that sounds. And yet I suppose it's not completely out of the question. I see you're starting to sweat, Mr. Wright. I thought the worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. You're the last person I want to hear that from. Well, then why don't we get those fragments analyzed? We could ask an expert to verify if they were them from the moon rock in the robotics lab or not. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that just isn't going to be possible. And why not? In order to prove that the fragments are from what you say they're from, you need a sample of the moon rock from several years ago to compare it with. But that moon rock doesn't exist anymore, and there's no sample data left either. CC, short of going back in time, there's no way to prove that any of the fragments are from that moon rock. Oh! No! Oh, don't be so sure just yet. Did I just see actual Phoenix holding his finger in front of him like this? I thought he had his hand on his chin like this for that whole animation. Has this, all these years, has him been thinking like this with his hand in front of his face? There's really no way to prove it? Are you finally ready to throw in the towel? Objection! Just looking at them beside him is so funny. Just like looking at him like, Mr. Wright, so the moon rock doesn't exist anymore, huh? That's right. It was such a valuable rock, too. A shame, really. But it's lost to us forever. He's wrong. It's not completely lost. There's another piece of it right here by our side. A shining fragment of hope that can turn everything around. The final piece of evidence to put this phantom away for good. The defense is a piece of evidence that completely contradicts your claim. You have what now? A final fragment of hope that was passed down with great love and care. We do? We do. Even if the person holding it hasn't realized it yet. Is this true, Mr. Wright? Pay no attention to him, Your Honor. He's just bluffing as usual. I wonder if you'll be able to force your biggest smile when you see what I've got. Try me. The piece of evidence that shows us the original moon rock isn't completely lost is this. Take that! Oh, I'm sorry, there was no take that. Just look at it! Look at it! Look at it! I want all of you to look at it! But just about the only things my mother left me with are Widget and this earring. Maybe she did love me in her own way. Athena, you may not know it, but your mother left you with a very important piece of evidence. She did? You're bluffing. You don't have anything of the kind. Oh, but we do. Evidence that will finally corner you. Because we have a moon rock of our own. Yeah. No! Oh! You mean... Exactly. A gift Dr. Cykes left her daughter. An item Athena has cherished and worn all these years. As distant as Dr. Cykes may have seemed to her daughter, that fragment of her love... will shake off the darkness of the past and give us all hope for the future. This is the defense's sample of the moon rock. Take that! That's your sample? This earring that Miss Cykes always wears was made from that original moon rock! What? All this time, it was right here all along? Yes! We haven't lost any health in this episode. This is unbelievable almost. No, it can't be! If the composition of the bond fragments in the earring are found to be a match, then it will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the origin of the fragment in this photo. And since the test results show that the blood on the fragment was yours, that means the identity you tried so hard to hide will finally be revealed. The identity I tried to hide? I don't have an identity to hide. I may not have Athena's ears, but now even I can hear the fear in your voice. Fear? I don't feel fear. I left all the emotions behind years ago. Objection! Every human being feels fear. You simply can't face the emotions inside you. You can't face them because you have nothing. No love, no trust. And I suppose you do. I didn't have anybody to support me at first either. I couldn't face the fear inside me, couldn't get over the trauma of my past. Like I said, I don't feel fear. Objection! Then you're just a coward for running away from yourself. When I had my doubts about Miss Cykes, I felt like I would collapse under the weight. But I wanted to trust her. And I knew I could trust Mr. Wright to uncover the truth. That's why I was able to face my suspicions without hesitation. Running away from myself. How can I run from myself when there's nothing inside? Nothing at all. Objection! I know it's hard for someone as unwilling to trust others as you to understand. But people have emotions. It's just a fact of life. And so people can be weak at times. But that's exactly why people need to trust one another. So they can gain the strength to face themselves when things are at their bleakest. Without trust in others, how can you ever hope to face your fears? The fear inside of me is this. No. I'm afraid. I'm scared. I feel fear. You cannot run yourself. Remove that mask and release your emotions. Confront your guilt head on. With your own true face. My own true face. No, please don't. I know you're here. Where are you? See, I haven't revealed anything yet. Honest. My own true face. I don't have one. My face. My face. My face. Is this my face? Is it? Is it?
No, that's not it. No! No! This isn't me either.
Ah, is this me? Which one is my face? What am I?
Who am I?
Someone shot him. Whoever was commanding the spy, I guess. Truly is the man without a face. Holy shit, that was so cool. That was like the best breakdown in the series so far for me, I think. This game has had excellent breakdowns. A sniper attack in this very courtroom. It chills me to my bones. I'm surprised more people aren't screaming and running. But the police are doing everything they can to track down the sniper as we speak. Prosecutor Blackwell, how is Detective Fulbright, his passer doing? He's a lucky fellow. The bullet didn't hit any vital organs. He appears to be in no danger of dying. Well, that was fortunate for all of us. The analysis of that final piece of evidence Wright submitted is in. The composition of Miss Cykes' earring and the fragment with the blood on it match. We can now be certain that it is a fragment of the moon rock in question. The murders and the bombings at the Space Center are both past and present. The bombing of courtroom number 4, and all those other crimes as numerous as the stars. Under suspicion of all of these things, the spy known as the Phantom has been incarcerated. The prosecutor's office is now responsible for his well-being. There are still a myriad of things we wish him to tell us about, after all. Thank you, Prosecutor Blackwell. That might be the end, but it feels like there's a bit we didn't use about that Edgeworth Gate has given us, right? Interesting. Well, it's finally time to bring this trial to an end. But before I do, will the defendant please return to her proper place? Oh, yes, Your Honor. Now then, this court finds the defendant Athena Cykes not guilty. I don't know why the camera jerked around a bit when it happened. Yahoo! Woohoo! Congrats, Athena! Woohoo! Oh, that feels good. Feels good. Feels good. I'm so glad we managed that without dying. Please say there's no more. No one had better come in and hold it right about now. Court is adjourned. Holy crap, that seems for real. What a bonkers ass last case. Man, so all the Fulbright we knew really was a whole ass lie. I feel so hurt by that. You sneaky people in the comments. I'm convinced now that all those, oh, I love Fulbright. He's so silly and fun. He's my favorite. You all knew just what you were doing. You guys are sneakier than the Phantom. December 20th, 9:12 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5. Where's Pearls? I want to go congratulate her, too, for helping us in that.
Congratulations, Mr. Nick.
Thank you, Pearls. And thank you for being there for Athena.
That's the least I could do. But Athena was great, wasn't she? She was so strong throughout the whole trial.
I love this end of case theme as well in this game. It's so happy. It's like a... Yeah, well, they're all good. I was sassing Ace Attorney 2 and 3's one before, but they're all good. Bam, 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 bam. Sorry, okay. What an interesting villain, too, that Phantom. Because, like, obviously you feel kind of bad for them at the end, but it's like, they are the embodiment of the Dark Age of the Law in that they're what happens if you rely on lying and like, deceit, as opposed to trust. You become this broken shell, and, like, you ain't right. What an interesting villain character.
But Athena was great, wasn't she? She was so strong throughout the whole trial.
I know, right? Like, holy shit. How the hell... I would have given up on, like, the first testimony. Daddy, I'm so glad to see you. Trucy! Oh, are you all right? Are you hurt? I'm fine, Daddy. I was doing magic tricks for the other hostages to keep our spirits up. Good on ya.
That's our Trucy for you. I'm really glad to see you're safe.
Right. I fear I owe you yet another debt of gratitude. Edgeworth, we never would have caught him if it weren't for all of you. Oh, come on, Edgeworth. What are you talking about? You're the one who's been tracking the Phantom this whole time. Plus, you were the one who gave Blackwell permission to serve as prosecutor, right? Yes, well, we knew the Phantom was somewhere nearby. The police and I were trying to find him, but we never did manage to do so until this trial. Well, we never would have won this trial without you. It was your help as chief prosecutor that was the key to its successful conclusion. Besides, it was you that saw to it I got my attorney's badge back, wasn't it? So you figured it out, did you? Yeah, getting my license back went just a little too smoothly, you know? It should have been much harder after that evidence forging scandal. Well, I owed you a few favors. Hey, Edgeworth, think we can finally bring the Dark Age of the Law to an end? Even the darkest night turns to dawn eventually. Our sun will rise again. Besides, now that Prosecutor Blackwell has been cleared of all charges, a great deal of the mistrust towards the court system should have been swept away. You know, you could have said that with a bigger smile, Edgeworth. It won't kill you. Instead, the furrows in that brow of yours just keep getting deeper and deeper. So I should smile more, huh? I'll think about it.
The complicated love-hate relationship between lifelong rivals.
Athena. I'm forever in your debt. We went to all that trouble, even taking the bar exam while you were overseas.
Well, I knew that if I didn't get your sentence overturned fast, you'd be executed. So I studied and studied. I was frantic. I'm so glad I made it in time. Just barely. But I still made it.
Atta girl, Athena. It's good to see you finally let your tears out. Yes, I survived by the skin of my teeth, thanks to you. Well, there only cries when it's all over, so I think we can be confident it's over now.
Shame on you, Simon, for trying to throw your life away like that!
It was never my intention to just throw my life away. But some things in this world are more important than your own life.
Like what?
My honor-bound duty to protect with my life. My mentor's most beloved treasure.
Huh?
That's some loyalty. This guy really is a samurai through and through. Well, it looks like we can breathe easy now. Apollo, Athena, thank you both. It took all of us together to pull it off.
You bet, Ross. What a team we are, huh?
It was definitely the most amazing turnabout I've ever seen. I'm a lucky guy. My office has the best, most capable lawyers around. Thanks, Mr. Wright.
I'm going to work extra hard to make up for all the worry I caused. Apollo Justice is fine and ready to go. Let's hear it for the Wright Anything Agency. Well, nobody's gonna try harder than me, so you better watch out, Apollo. Simon's free thanks to Mr. Wright. But there are so many more people out there who need our help.
You're right, and I'll be needing you both to help them. We still have a long way to go.
That we do!
Get ready, you two. We won a major victory. The war is far from over. There's still people out there suffering under false charges who need defending. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, if we ever hope to fully bring the Dark Age of the Law to a close.
Hey, I know one thing we have to do. We have to celebrate the bowl of piping hot noodles.
Huh? Athena, you just peace signed those guards out of existence. Nothing like a bowl of Odin's noodles after a trial on Mr. Wright's tab.
That's how it works at Wright Anything Agency, right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? Huh? As a boss, it's your duty to express gratitude to your people for their great work. In that case, allow me to join the festivities. I would greatly welcome a bowl of noodles.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
I have an idea, Daddy. Why don't you just invite everybody involved with the case? The more the merrier, right?
Oh, Mr. Nick, look how far you've come. Who knew you'd grow up to be such a generous gentleman?
What? Guys? Under these circumstances, there's only one thing I can say. Oh, damn it.
Only if I get to join in. Hey, no fair! I want to say it too!
God damn it. Okay, here we go. Objection! Yahoo! Story director Takeshi Yamazaki, well done, you! On your first one as story director. Whoa! Oh, it's like a more triumphant version. Oh, sorry. I was trying to think of something nice I could do for Polly, so I decided to go around and get a bunch of jobs for him to do. Find a lost cat, install an air conditioner, give a computer lesson, find a lost item. I think I should have found him a few legal cases. Nah, that's okay. This is the Wright Anything Agency after all. That was awesome! I'm gonna save my thoughts till the end just because I need to be talking as the characters here and you don't get to pick how it goes.
Athena and Apollo were so wonderful in court. I better study as much as I can if I want to be a judge someday. My grandma says, eat lots of peppers and they'll ignite your passion. Oh, but I should figure out which to grow. Green peppers or yellow peppers? Green peppers are delicious. Or maybe I should go with the hottest sun red peppers instead.
Nah, not sure that's terribly wise with respect to trying to focus in court. Oh, wow. I like that these credits here, sorry.
At the end of the Dark Age of the Law, you say. How naive. Don't you know it's sometimes necessary to get a guilty verdict by any means possible? What? They're putting me under investigation? The chief prosecutor wants to save me.
I like that the credits are slow and they give they freeze frame on each of them rather than like a big scroll where they all go by really quickly. I've always liked that about attorney credits. I guess because it's sort of maybe a smaller team compared to a lot of like big AAA games.
I've been tasked to debut the Great Mass for 10 months.
He's scheduled to go up against the Amazing Ninetales next, though.
Oh, what to do. A fight to finish with myself.
Why don't you ask Mr. Demon Lawyer to be the Amazing Ninetales too?
That's not a bad idea. I bet he'd be all for it. Gaw, gaw, gaw. So we ought to meet as foes as we are, my little friend.
I sort of forgot Damien's voice. I'm sorry if that wasn't it. Oh, this is really the test of... Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah, would you believe it? I'm Alderman of Ninetales Vale now. Pretty impressive, eh? I had to go over that to rescue me when they go to my beloved village. Yes, what do you say? Would you like to make a little donation to help us out? Hey, you! What do you think I'm doing sneaking in the... Hey, what do you think you're doing sneaking into the manor? Yeah, the jig's up. Better make a run for it! This is the hardest part of every Ace Attorney game, is like the exit exam, where it makes you remember the voices you had for every character. I thought I wanted to be an artist, but after seeing the amazing job Athena did, I started becoming genuinely interested in law. So now I'm studying for the bar exam. I'm going to prosecute Athena someday. You'll see. I'm studying my buns off too, but not for the bar exam. I'm going to pass the Themis entrance exam on my own merit this time. With a score of 100 points, of course. Phew! Juniper, our dream will live on forever! Forever and ever and ever. It would be kind of cool if in a later game, let's say,
I found really sweet boxes for all three of them, but they won't wear them. Is it because I want to be a legal journalist instead of a lawyer or a judge? Well, anyway, thanks to the trial, the school newspaper's future is as bright as can be. Now let's see what the first blood has to say in the new school paper. Our editor cried so hard at graduation rehearsal, her cardboard box got soggy.
At least it sounds like the others are talking to her, at least. I said I would throw hands at the one-night-only reunion concert. I still remember that evening of passion. The president of the student council sang like no high school student I've ever heard. When she's a judge in her own court someday, I'd love to have a jam session with her. It'd be the coolest trial ever, huh? I can already hear it now. I said I'd throw hands if Scuttlebutt wasn't friends with the others in the outro. So I think I can say there's no hands need to be thrown now.
I gave this place a good cleaning from top to bottom, but it's already a mess again. I guess the only thing I can do now is clean up the attitudes of the people in this office. With Mystic Maya due to come here once her training is over, it simply must be done.
Special effects. You were worked very hard on this game, I have to imagine. I'm very sorry for you.
A man who manages to for outer space will never die. In fact, planning for the Head-3 rocket has already officially begun. Look upon refuge of this great nation and witness the glory of your cosmos. What you... Oh, director. Yes, rocket preparations are fully complete. Yes.
Who's the director?
You just leave everything to me. Assistant director, you're in cosmos.
Is Orr the director? Or maybe Apollo? No, Apollo doesn't make sense. Maybe Solomon. I'm glad that it wasn't actually him. For a minute, I thought they were just going to pull that it was Solomon. I was like, that was a dumb twist.
I'm going to the moon in the new rocket. If Athena or Mommy Mantis came to the moon, I would love to show them around. But which is more interesting? Monty's Virianeus or the Mary Tranquility? You would think they would like either one? Yay! Hooray! I wonder how Miss Ora's doing. I'd rather be near Miss Ora than on the moon. Oh, Miss Ora! I just want to excuse me like I'm not used to.
I respect the simpage. But, also, that's troubling. Ready for launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! I'm going to the moon for real this time. For me and for Clay. Thanks to my lawyers, and now I know I should never give up. But I'm worried. You can't breathe in space, and in fact, it's cold as heck. Oh man, now I'm getting real nervous. I was gonna say, it's okay, you've got pills, but you know what? Pretend I didn't ever think that, because that's a horrible thing to say. No, I am not employed here. I simply came to request the services in the defense of my sister. But no one's around, and I've been kept waiting for a long time. What sort of case brings you here? Oh, your father was accused and you wish for Athena to defend him. Oh, then perhaps me and I shall meet in the courtroom in the near future. That would be kind of funny if he was just like our PA in all games henceforth. I wonder if we're gonna have a new prosecutor in the next one. I look forward to your next month's salary assessment.
Please forgive me! This is bullshit.
Blackwell's acquittal has brought all manner of ills into the prosecutor's office to light. It would seem that solving the case has thawed the chill of winter into the warmth of spring. Now I owe Wright another debt of gratitude, but I will repay him one day. You can trust in that. What are debts among friends? It's fine. I'm sure he's forgiven you of all the things you've done in the past, some stupid though they may have been. Localization! Wow, you bunch had to work pretty hard too, I imagine. Oh, Pt.TERMINUS Productions. Huh. That's the same, whatever, like, I don't know what the name is, but basically they ran the voices for Three Houses as well, I think. Sam Riegel I saw in there, yeah. He played Phoenix in this one, which is kind of fun. Quite fun, not kind of fun. Hey, very interesting, very good, very cool. All right, this one does go a bit more of a scroll, but I like that there's a lengthy portion of the credits that are sort of they go pace by pace and show you really take the time to adulate over each person who worked on it, because they all deserve it. It was a fabulous, fabulous game. This animation producer, production desk. I wonder why these are split off this way. Animation work boons. Oh, actually, a few more people were on this than I had expected. Because the credits rolls for like the other games are like quite short for like when you consider that Capcom is considered to be such sort of like a very big, well-known game company. Everything. I don't know if they're I guess their teams are bigger for other games, right? Like we played Resident Evil on the channel somewhat recently, and the credits roll was reasonably long enough for that, I would have said. Dismissal. God, that was an awesome breakdown as well. Oof. I'm going to think about that Phantom twist for a long time. I guess it is sort of the best way it could have gone, which is that there isn't really a character, it's more of like an idea, which is that this is what happens when you do not have trust and you rely on lying and everything. At first I was marginally disappointed because I was like, it would be more interesting as a writing thing if it was a character we already knew. And I guess it sort of is because it's Fulbright, but it's not the real Fulbright. But you know what? I very much I've in like the 20 minutes since that happened, I've come around to it. That's really I really do like the way that that shaped up with that villain. Maybe one of my favorite villains in the series even. Oh, that's dope. Oh, gotta get my mouse off the screen because this could be a decent thumbnail. Whoa. Scrolled ahead really fast all there of a sudden. Capcom Go Limited! There you are. There ye have it. Take that and all. Bravo! Encore! Encore! Good game! Oh, cutscene! Marvel post-credits cutscene. Everyone watch and be amazed as the rocket launches.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Why are you allowed to stand there? Oh, you're way far away, okay. I thought he was like on the premises. And I was like, dude, that's how you die. Yeah, they took out her hair, her like weird knight's buns, but let her keep the space outfit.
You'll be fine. Just believe in yourself.
The moon's closer than you think.
Thanks, guys. I wouldn't have made it back into space if it wasn't for you.
All right.
Oh, God, I love that. That's so sweet. Through the years, I've seen as much joy as heartache, honesty as deceit. But just as Mr. Starbuck was able to escape the harsh pull of his fears and despair, I believe that hope and friendship can lift us all up toward a brighter tomorrow. I agree. End. Awesome. Totally, totally awesome. Do we get extra outfits? More Capcom games. What? I have never, ever seen a video game end with a link to buy more games from the store. Piss off! You had a good thing. Don't ruin it. Awesome. I'm curious if we earned any new costumes for that. No, it doesn't seem so. Oh yeah, since I lost everything on my hard drive, I don't have the pink one anymore. Damn it. It plays Athena's theme on the illustration page. Wow, so many of these illustrations are from the last case. Oh no, it's just because I on this file, save file, I only played like the last case because of the recent hard drive screwing ruined everything. All these ones are murdery. I don't have a happy one anywhere. The music feels like really inappropriate for this. Whatever, this is the happiest one we got. It'll have to do for now. So, what a friggin' crazy good game that was. Unfortunately, as the track congratulatory people did not play once and Maya was only mentioned by name, I will have to award it a 0 to 10. That's all. Peace. Give it to me too. I want to get that chest. Obviously, I'm just kidding. There'll be time for that in Spirit of Justice. And speaking, before I get into the proper big whole review thing, Spirit of Justice is going to be a very interesting game. Because we really tackled the Dark Age of the Law plot point in a huge way in this game. So I guess it's just going to be like carrying on with the sweeping up of that. But how are they going to raise the stakes? And will there be another prosecutor? Will it be Blackwell again? Or will it be like Blackwell and Edgeworth and like Clavier and a bunch of prosecutors we've all seen coming together? And where will they take Apollo's character? And Athena's and Phoenix's for that matter. I cannot wait to play Spirit of Justice. I loved it. I absolutely, gosh, I friggin' loved it. I have heard a lot of people say that, or I definitely saw a number of people saying that Dual Destinies was like easily like the weakest entry in the series. I hear a lot of people say that Spirit of Justice is one of the best. I did not feel this game to be the weakest in the series. I felt, I held it in quite a high regard actually. I think my ranking for them, this was getting damn close to my favorite. The thing is, I mean, they're always more fun playing them on a channel, I suppose, because then it's like, I don't know, good things are often better shared. And holy crap, what a long time we spent with this game, too, because Apollo Justice only took us 30 episodes, but granted, a few of them were, like, super long episodes, but considering this one, we also did the DLC chapter, I guess that's part of it, but this is now 54 episodes. And we started it, like, what, November of last year? It's been like a year almost. I think my ranking for the games would probably now go, like, 3-5-1-4-2 or 3-5-4-1-2. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that 3 is the best, is the top, and 2 is the bottom, even though I did like 2 a lot. And that, it's the 1, 4, and 5 in the middle that are sort of all in limbo for me. Although that said, I mean, I think this is an example of a case where the game being sort of having a bigger production budget and stuff at this juncture did make the storytelling fairly more effective. I thought there were a lot of really, like, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I don't remember being nearly this tense even during the really dramatic moments of the first game, say. So I think this game would probably rank above the first one. I think it would probably go above Apollo, so as in Ace 34. So I think it goes 3-5, and then it's either 4-1 or 1-4-2. I did like this one a lot in the end. And I feel before I go any further in my review portion of this, I should address the fact that I was very unfair to this game in like the first half of it. Like I was saying, and this is on me and not the game's fault, at that time I was still finishing up my degree and I was majorly stressed out by that, which meant that 1, I was very emotionally flappable, and 2, I wasn't able to dedicate as much of my brain power to the game, so I was having a lot more trouble with the mystery portions of it. That said, I still do have some gripes that I'll get into when I get into the gameplay section, but I usually start these off with visuals, then I go music, then I go gameplay, then I go story, I think, is how I usually do these reviews. I don't know, this charade of a channel I have going here. What is on my shoulder? There's dust all over my shoulder. This is a clean shirt. Where did the dust come from? I have next to nothing bad to say about the visuals in this game and the visual presentation en masse. I heard a few people say that the animations and stuff lost charm when they transitioned from, they had a rough transition to 3D, and they didn't really keep the expressiveness of the hand-drawn ones. I wholeheartedly disagree. I thought the 3D animations were exceptional. It made me think a lot of like the more contemporary Guilty Gears, where they do 3D animation that's meant to look like it's been hand drawn. Although this game, I would say, also makes use of the 3D space as a vehicle for all the antics, like Yuri Cosmos spinning around and then slamming through the door in the back was really cool. I loved the blackboard that Means has, and the breakdown from the spy at the end where he tears off all the faces was awesome. Like the second he tore off the Starbuck face and revealed that he was just going to be swapping faces, I was like, oh, I bet the breakdown is going to be something really cool. Where he's like throwing faces off every 2 seconds. I love that they kept a lot of the same expressions from the earlier games, like Phoenix is like when he's sweating, and Apollo's where his like mouth goes into a weird like beak, and of course the slams and the points. Like they kept all the important stuff intact, and then added a bunch of new interesting stuff. The colors were super vibrant. I did kind of like Ace 34's turning around of the evidence, and it was just sort of a shame that that only happened twice in this. Once for the... well, 3 times if you count the DLC, I think, because it was once for the folding screen that you fold Once for the lighter and then once for the walkie-talkie with the bite marks on it. Maybe there was one more that I don't not remembering here. The visuals were exceptional. I loved them all the way through. And I suppose I could say the same for the music, because man, the music in this game was banging. I absolutely loved that they took the because since the first from Ace Attorney 1 to 3 to Ace Attorney 4, there was a major increase in the quality of the music samples, obviously. And this game kicked it up even a notch higher now that it's in much more of the contemporary era. Sorry, do I have that right? No, this game was 2013, right? Not 2016. I was saying earlier the speed is key thing. My mistake. Sorry, it's Spirit of Justice is 2016, isn't it? Yes, it was. Oops. Sorry. Anyway, that's still quite in the modern area compared to 2007's Apollo Justice, which I think it was 2007 or 2006 that Ace 24 came out. Anyway. Maybe 2008. It was released on DS initially. Anyway, is my point. This game had so many good remixes of old themes. The remix of Phoenix's objection theme, that one is amazing. I absolutely loved the bang slapping jazz. Well, Bobby Fulbright's theme for one thing. And I loved Apollo's I'm Fine theme, the way it took his whole objection and it turned into this groovy like lounge piece. Oh, I could listen to music in this game all day, and I have done before. I've used it like exercising and stuff. And the song that I've been using exercising the most, although before I'll get to that, I just want to also pay some mention to the pursuit theme in this game is a bop. They have not missed with a single one in this series so far. I cannot wait to hear the 6 games and the spin-off games, because so far not one of them has missed. The original one's a classic, and the remix of it that happens in Ace Attorney 3. The one that happens in Ace Attorney 2 is fittingly very tense and dark. Mia's pursuit theme, which is what I call it, even though Phoenix it happens for as well in Ace Attorney 3 for a bit, is one of maybe my favorite in the whole series so far of pursuit themes. Like the one that's all, there's just that one like high synthesizer note that's all do 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 boo do do do. Any of that one. But this game's was awesome. That whole trumpet line that goes is so there's something that each of these has, which is that one catchy riff. And I don't know how they do it, man. Every single of one of those riffs, the first one dun 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 dun. I could it just plays in my head in loop whenever I think of it. And the second one is da 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 da. And the third one is the one I was singing a moment ago. And then Ace 24 is da 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 da. Well, no, but the intro riff that catches you in the fourth one is, anyway, I got all mixed up. And the point is, they're all good. This game's a pursuit theme was banging, but my absolute favorite theme from the game was the one you're hearing right now in the game here, because I absolutely loved Athena's theme. The 3 different moods it had. There's the yippee skippy version here, which is probably my favorite. This is Athena's they all have the sort of same important bits of the melody, but this one's called Athena Cykes, Let's Do This. And then there's Athena Cykes, Courtroom Revolutionaire, and I don't know what the sad one's called, but all versions of that theme were amazing. I absolutely adored. This song is definitely an earworm that I could listen to over and over. The triumphant version of it is so damn like heroic and righteous. It sounds like it belongs in a superhero film, and it's just awesome. And the sad version is, this series does sad moments, like quiet moments, quite well, which is so hilarious when you consider that they're known for like screaming and over the top like breakdown moments and stuff. That's sort of what they're most famous for. But they do quiet moments very well, and the music absolutely is always fitting for that. It almost made me wish that Athena's sad theme had showed up in cases prior to the last sort of important one. Well, I guess the 4 and 5 are sort of, I'm conflating them, but even still, it bopped. Now I'll move to gameplay. This is going to be the area where most of my criticisms came in, as is usually the case. But don't worry, we'll get back to story after that, and I can start praising it again. Although I had a few story gripes as well, I guess. On the whole, this game absolutely delivered on the formula that we've come to know and love. There were some really good logical twists and turns, and some solid puzzles and like wordplay things and stuff like that. And I also very much loved, it's a shame we didn't get to use too much of Apollo's skill in it, because what I was really hoping for in this game was, in that last case where we were using Magatama, Habits, and Moon Matrix, I was expecting that whole, like, swapping back and forth between them on the fly to be part of the entire game a bit more. But since Apollo leaves off the bat, that wasn't really an option. But that said, I did like the Athena's Moon Matrix. I thought that was a very cool system. It sometimes did feel like they were a bit vague about what they were actually trying to ask you to do. Because sometimes it would be like, you're trying to find an inconsistent emotion with their testimony. But since you know that they're lying, you would know that they're not really happy about this thing they say they're happy about or whatever like that. Most of the time they were usually, they were pretty much saying like, look for an emotion that changes unexpectedly or that is not appropriate to what they're saying. And that made enough sense, and I thought that was a cool layer to it, especially since the games are so much about the strengths and weaknesses of people, I guess, as a whole and as individuals. So I think it resonated ludonarratively there as well. I did feel like there were a few, though, where it's like there were unusual emotions or unusual shifts in emotions where I was like, that seems unusual, and I would point it out, and they would just be like, no, that's perfectly normal. What do you mean it's not normal to not be upset at all when you see a child crying? And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, you could have just put a bit of sadness there. I think that makes sense to be sad seeing it. Anyway, but they didn't lose your health with it, so it's fair that I think it seemed, and emotions are subjective anyway. And I mean, logic as a whole is subjective, so a lot of my criticisms here are going to be stuff that will absolutely makes no sense to me to some people. Some people will be like, well, it doesn't sound like that to me. I think you're just dumb, and fair enough. I guess you're within your right to say that, although it hurts my feelings. Anyway, I'm excited to see if they carry on the Moon Matrix any point past this game. I would be really hype if Moon Matrix and Apollo's Habits and Magatama, all three came back for Speed of Justice. It'll be exciting too, because I guess will they be working together the whole time then? That would be too cool. As for the actual prominent logic portions, like I said, majority of the time, pretty good. And a lot of the gripes I was complaining at earlier on, again, was due to me not focusing hard enough rather than the game being obtuse about it. The game was also obtuse about a few of them, though. I think it's fair for me to say. I think my favorite cases from top to bottom, I did really like the school case. This is blending the gameplay and the story a bit here, so I'm jumping the gun on the story a bit. But I very much liked about the school case that, I think I said this at the time, that Athena kind of gets busted out and brought back by the two students, by Hugh and Robin. I thought that was a very well-written portion because of the whole theme of this game about being that, like, people, can offset their weaknesses by having faith in one another, and at that point they can stop running away from their own fears, and like their own secrets and stuff, which is what Robin and Hugh are doing before Athena draws it out of them. And so even though she's sort of humiliated them in some ways, they're thankful that they don't have to live that lie anymore, and they're thankful to her, so that when she suddenly gets brought back to that scary place from her childhood and is having like a panic attack, that they were the ones to come in and help her out of that felt very right, and I very much love the way that was written. And I don't know, I love those two characters as a whole, and I like the villain in that case too. He was just kind of a real grody, evil, bad dude who abused his power, and it was like it was kind of disturbing in that way, and I liked it. I think the school one might be my favorite, followed probably by Case 5. I don't even really need to talk more about why I loved that one so much. It was really cleverly written for the most part, and the twist at the end was, I very much like the spy character as that was what stuck out to me the most. And seeing Phoenix, Apollo, and Athena ebb and flow in their resolve and morale, and have to keep sort of balancing each other out until they were all in sync right at the end there was really cool. Like, I like that Phoenix had portions where he gave up, Athena had portions where she gave up, and Apollo had sort of given up at the beginning. You did feel like all of them were absolutely necessary to that. If they didn't have each other, they would have been dead. I think the space station would probably come right after that. So it goes case 3, 3, 5, 4, and then I guess I would say I remember liking the Ninetales Veil case more than the first one, so I think it does go 3, 5, 4, 2, 1 DLC, probably, in order of which ones I liked the most to the least. That said, I did love in the DLC Sasha and the orcas and stuff. I liked all the characters in that one for sure. To talk about a few of my gripes with like the logic ones, I've mentioned both the security camera ones now. It's just a phrasing thing. Like, it makes more. When they say the security camera footage starts at 7 a.m., that tells me that this evidence piece I'm holding here, we have all of it. So when you show me only 2 snapshots, I assume those are the only 2 important things. Because in my mind, role-playing this out here, Phoenix and Athena went and yoinked that portion of the security tape from Fulbright. Who left it around? Why exactly? If that wasn't the real Fulbright, I don't know. But as in if that was this is the Phantom even at that point, I don't really know why he was helping us through a lot of that. But I'm assuming that Phoenix and Athena, these incredibly capable and like experienced people, upon looking at grabbing this section of footage, because Wait, so it doesn't even make sense to me. The 2 little snapshots that were from it, those were parts that Fulbright had sectioned out? How could you have a video camera that was the security camera and have an entire clip that goes from 7 a.m. to whenever, but the first part, like, isn't playable? Because if you hit play on a video, it would start at the beginning. So I still can't get my brain around the fact that Phoenix and Athena somehow missed checking the first part of it. And then when they did it the second time in the case 5 there, which was the only damage we took in that entire case, by the way. I just don't understand. They said we had the footage covered the entire portion of the time of the crime, and Blackwell was the only one to leave there. I don't think I'm that far-fetched for assuming that the time of the crime would be the time of death, right? Because there's still some question about when that is, if there's an autopsy that reads 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. was the estimated time of death. I mean, really what I assumed was that the time of the crime referred to that whole day, because we're assuming the killer went in that day. So I'm thinking, like, from open to close at least, but at the very least, the estimated time of death. Because to me, what that says is that they looked at the footage, randomly happened to get to the part with Simon, and not the super sketchy dude with a bandaged up bleeding hand and who was covering his face. And then, upon seeing that portion of the footage, assumed that was when the murder happened, and declared that they had all the footage from the time of the murder, but that's a ridiculous assumption, right? I will never understand why the time of death was not counted as the time of the murder. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me, but it's little things like that, and how, like, I remember at the end of the Ninetales Vale case, I didn't even talk about the whole thing that happens at the end of the cases now, where you go into the character's brain and there's a little, like, you pick up from the drop-down stuff. That's an insanely cool thing. I didn't care so much for the... I don't remember what happened, if that happened. Did that happen in the first one even? Or did that only happen in the second one? Onward. I didn't really care so strongly for when it did it in the Ninetales Vale case in the aquarium, because the point of it is that at least for me, I think that the point at which it becomes satisfying is if it's something like, oh, now it all makes sense, I should have seen it all along. Like when it was the Athena stabbed the culprit one. That's satisfying, because that's like, that makes a lot of stuff make sense about her memories and stuff. Whereas the one with the Ninetales Vale, the other Ninetales Vale case also just had a few other things where I was like, okay, you're pushing the... Like, the games have always been a bit fantastical, but I've always been able to suspend my disbelief that within this world these things are true, but I didn't really find it believable that Jinxie wouldn't recognize her own father's voice because LaBelle, who they've shown us, you hear both voices, by the way, and they sound completely different. She didn't recognize him because he had a mask on. And the fact that, like, the 2-foot-tall Phineas Filch was able to wear the 7-foot-tall Temataro costume believably, nah, I don't really buy that. There were a number of points where my suspension of disbelief was stretched a bit. And like the solve in the aquarium where you had to figure out that there was a tooth missing from one, but it was on a video that you couldn't pause, so the orc is always moving around, it would be very hard to see, or so I felt. And then there were a number of times where I felt like the game, I think I mentioned this a few times mid-cases, I don't remember it being quite as egregious in the other games, where there were a number of times where they would ask a question in a really vague way, where they could be asking a few things. Like they would be like, actually, I don't have as many examples as that, but I'll go to the one I do have examples of, which is where they ask questions that answer themselves. It mitigates the feeling of, I'm a genius, you get when you figure it out, right? Like, I felt smart for figuring out that Athena fought them with a knife because there was a toolkit there, until they said, what other bladed item was at the scene? And it's like, well, there's only one other bladed item in the evidence list. And I remember feeling somewhat smart, thinking that they used the hoist to carry Orla out until they were like, or that the captain was hitting the Skull Rock, until they were like, the Skull Rock and Orla were the only two things on the on the hoist. If it wasn't Orla, what was the captain hidden in? And it's like, you don't even have to have played this game to this point to know that. So what's the point of asking me it? Why don't I just say Phoenix figured it out, or ask it or just ask what was the captain moved in, kind of thing. It was the sort of thing where it felt like they were trying not to leave people behind, considering there's no history button. But there's a history button in this game. I think I understand why they avoid this, but I've always thought that these games would be awesome if you had a transcript of the entire case thus far, because then instead of having to constantly do flashbacks where the character remembers something important that basically gives away what the answer is, you would have to look through all of what was said at any given point. I think I get why they don't do that. It's because obviously then you would have to look through a lot of text just to find one little mention that you might have thought was an offhand joke. Which, fair enough to there, because like I thought Aura saying, "Oh, it was so annoying, why couldn't they have lowered one of the other ladders?" I don't remember how I reacted to that initially, but I ended up thinking, oh, that was probably just a joke that she's complaining because she's grousing and that's how she is. So I guess fair enough there. But like I said, it's a tricky business making a logic game because it's a miracle that it works even as well as it does, because logic is so subjective to different people. So I understand the urge that you either have to make it so dumbly common sense that anyone without prior knowledge would figure it out, i.e. Orla and the Skull Rock being the only things on the hoist, or you have to lead them towards it very suggestively with a lot of hints and writing in the evidence list. On the whole, I would say like 70% of the time this game was on my side and I was on its side, and we were working together, and I liked the way the mystery was going. Like, even in for the most part, when I got something wrong, I felt like that was fair enough, I think. Like, with the exception of the security cam ones and the other ones I've complained about a bit. I think they were very good on the whole about indicating to you it's indicating the logic of the puzzle that you were supposed to be trying to get at. And also, especially as far as the Space Center case was concerned, giving you puzzles that were... There were a number of puzzles that were very, like, mentally stimulating because you had to think about a location from multiple angles, different floors, floor plans, who was here when, what exits were covered, which ones weren't. There was a lot of very good stuff in that point. And I think I probably talked long enough about the gameplay now, because I do want to get to the story in a big way. Although I won't be talking for it quite as long, probably, because there's gameplay. They are quite gameplay-heavy games in some ways. I'm going to start with the stuff I didn't care for quite as much, or, even I can't even really strongly say that I didn't care for it as much as there were a few things that confused me, and I think I would need to think about it more to really get it. I love the way they brought Phoenix and Athena's characters together. I loved the way Phoenix had grown sort of closer to how he was in the original trilogy, but still retaining the experience and sort of weatheredness that he had in the fourth game a bit. And I love that he and Trucy's relationship is carrying on. She's awesome, and I was so happy that she was in this game. I said I was going to start with the stuff I didn't like. So the thing, Apollo is my main thing here. I found he acted very unusually for what I had thought I understood about the character in the fourth game. I have heard some memes that Apollo gets a different backstory in every game, and I wouldn't say that he has a different backstory in this one as such. They added more to it with Terran and everything, but it still felt in line with when, he lost his mother. Oh wait, did you know about that in the fourth game? Anyway, the point is, it was more his reactions to things in the moment that I felt were sort of un-Apollo-like. As Phoenix says, Apollo's personality is very sort of bold and earnest, and he's got a passion, for justice, does not like one of the things that I like about the three different heroes is that they're all sort of aligned in the same objectives, but they have different angles on it. Phoenix's thing is like he doesn't like bullies, right? Because he was bullied, and he doesn't like it when people have no one on their side. Athena understands emotions, so she understands how scary it can be to be in this situation with no one on your side. And Apollo doesn't like it when the right people don't have anyone on their side, because he doesn't like it when it's not just. I like the way they communicated. They communicated those three and brought those synergies together. I didn't really understand why Apollo, upon suspecting Athena, wouldn't have taken Phoenix aside and said, "Hey, this seems weird to me." I guess that's when he went to investigate on his own and found the security camera, and then at that point he was so in his own head about it that he was upset, I guess. But considering Phoenix helped him when the last time he had someone on his team who was a criminal, right? You would have thought he would have gone right to him. And I didn't really understand. His demeanor was very strange. I kind of get why he was trying to be sort of quiet and closed off and not responding to Athena much, because she was the source of, he had the passion. He was sort of worried about actually seeing her, worried about that he would find that she was lying, and that's why he was sort of running away from it, so to speak. I didn't get why in the last case there his mannerisms did not feel like the earnest, justice-loving Apollo we know, as much as this weird, cocky rando who's all like, "Oh yeah, well, prove she's not a killer. Bet she can't, you nerds." And it was like, who is this guy? What happened to Apollo? So there were things about Apollo's demeanor and his actions around the game that I didn't really get. I didn't care for the spliced up timeline shenanigans earlier on in the game, where it starts at the case of Candace's arm, and then it hops back to Ninetales Vale, and then it hops forward to after in the school and stuff like. I at first I didn't care for it. I started to get what sort of like the structure of it and the way it was meant to be handled and interpreted by the end. So as a storytelling thing, I liked what it did narratively, but as in terms of just trying to understand the timeline of things, I feel like it did confuse matters a bit in a way that was maybe I'm just an idiot, but it did feel like it felt a bit like the benefit of doing it out of order was outweighed by how confused I was the whole time about what happened when and why. And I'm not exactly sure I understood the whole dual destinies concept, like why the title was that. I got in the end that Apollo sort of went on his own path to try and find the truth, but that was sort of him running away from confronting his feelings about Athena. And I think that's sort of where the divergence came, but I didn't feel like that was really prevalent throughout the whole game. Like, it almost made it felt like the game should have been called Ace Attorney Dark Age or something, and the last case should have been called Turnabout Dual Destinies, maybe. I'm not really sure, but I did like where they got to it overall in the end of the whole thing of running away from, like, confronting your own guilt and the people of who are close to you is the only way you can breed trust for yourself and the others. And as that was also established, that's the only way human beings who are, weak when alone can stand up together. And when people reach out for each other, there's no need for gods. Sorry, wrong game. So I think my ultimate feelings on it, what did I say? I liked the gameplay 70% of the time. I would say the story I was probably more like 88% of the time I was with it, and there were 12% or so where I was like, what are they getting out of here? I didn't really get it. Maybe it's just the sort of thing that you need to read a few essays before you understand, right? I like the conclusion they got to, and I like the way, I think the thing is, I like the story, even if I didn't think it was the most coherent of the whole series so far. And I mean, I imagine I stated it probably enough at this point, but I loved Athena. I thought she was an excellent new character. I found her very relatable the whole way through. I felt like I always understood her, even when I didn't agree with her. And I liked her arc of also kind of fitting with that whole confronting the guilt within yourself, because the whole thing is, we eventually learn she has a secret that she has sort of repressed herself that she's unaware of, which is that she sort of feels she is under the impression she might have been the killer for her own mother, and but she also has that traumatic memory of trying to acquit Blackwell. And oh yeah, I completely forgot that for like the first 80% of this game, they were trying to keep it a mystery who Athena was trying to save. I forgot all about that. And at first I didn't really get Blackwell either, but I sort of got him towards the end that he's sort of meant to be this, because he's also, they're all kind of doing it, right? They've lost faith in other people because someone didn't believe them once. And so now they're like, I'll do it myself. I'll just go kill this guy, or I'll just go become a lawyer like Athena does. And she's like, I'm just gonna, courtrooms scare me, so I'm just gonna stand in as many courtrooms as possible and like become as strong a lawyer as I can to save him before like his time is up, without really addressing her deeper problems of herself. And of course they end up coming out in court, and that's when they all sort of, that's when the truth comes out, is because they all start being honest with themselves. I love that element. I love the way they introduced Athena, and I love the way they brought Athena into that whole main message, I guess. And I think I'm nearing the end of all the stuff I wanted to say. It was a very, very good time, this. I just feel, I most chiefly just feel bad about how ornery I was during the first 3 or so cases. Because I was, contrary to what it probably looked like, I was having a good time with a lot of it, even still. And even though it turned out to be all a lie, I kind of liked Fulbright's arc as well. Now that I know it was a lie, I don't really understand why he purported to have an arc. Because there was sort of a competent arc there where he was like, had such a high respect for Blackwell that he assumed, since Blackwell is, very, can be very charismatic in a way, and is also very sharp in the intelligence department, that Fulbright was just kind of like, I'm just doing my job, and this is what justice is carrying out the role I was assigned, and following this guy because he seems right. And then later on, as he learns of the dark age of the law, sort of becomes more disillusioned with what he's doing and realizes that there are multiple perspectives that offer a different insight into what justice is, and of course, with the way things are now, always assuming one side is right isn't the way. So I guess I didn't really understand, even though I liked the spy, what he ended up representing, I didn't really understand why then he had that kind of an arc. I'd be excited to watch my playthrough this game through again, and see if I notice any moments where I'm like, oh, his emotion was weird, or he knew something he shouldn't have or something. Anyway, sorry, I'm just trying to get my last thoughts out, make sure I leave this video off with nothing left I wanted to say. I had such a great time with it. I love this series, and I will continue to love it, it would seem. I'm very impressed with this game on the whole as well, so I can't wait to see Spirit of Justice top it. I've now put for the Ace Attorney poll, which incidentally, the next series poll has Ace Attorney as one of the options, so we might be playing another Ace Attorney rather soon. In that poll, I have put more than just Spirit of Justice. I think I put Spirit of Justice, Phoenix Wright 1, Miles Edgeworth 1, and then Greatest Attorneys 1, I think maybe are the 4 that I have there. I can check. As well as Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, yeah. So Spirit of Justice may not be the next Ace Attorney we're playing, but whatever it is, I'm very hyped for it, and I'm obviously very hyped for Spirit of Justice whenever that does come about. So, if you excuse me, I've got a poll to go put up. The next video on the channel is going to be some more The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and as for the schedule, what it now becomes is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, our Verdant Wind Assassins only run, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain
Chain of Memories. We are currently at the next video. The next video after Tears will be the Verdant Wind Assassins, so we're right at the top there. That said, I also have a few other. Before our first episode of Chain of Memories will be some more Breath of the Wild's DLC, which we're nearing the end of, and this other thing that I've got going on. So Chain of Memories will be like in a bit. It'll be like in a few days. But indeed, that is the next game we're starting, and I'm quite hyped for that because I did very much like the first Kingdom Hearts, and I'm given to understand that this one is a bit of a black sheep and sort of weird. And what I keep hearing people say is that a lot of people don't end up finishing it. They just end up watching like a compilation of all the cutscenes on YouTube or whatever. I've heard more than one person has told me that now, and I gotta say that only intrigues me more. I really can't wait to see what it's about. Deck building and cards, I hear, but more than that, who can say till we play it? And don't go anywhere, because after one of those 3 games is finished, we're going to be starting Kid Icarus Uprising, a game that I started but did not play very far. But the little bit that I did play, I thought it was super fun and charismatic and cute and all the good stuff. So I can't wait to be playing that as well. But that, my friends, I believe is all for this episode of Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I had an excellent time with it. I will always love Ace Attorney. Athena, mwah. Apollo, mwah. Phoenix, mwah. Trucy, please don't cut anyone else in half. Thank you so very much for coming around to this episode and this playthrough of Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! Bye! Goodbye! Give it to me too. I want to get that chest. Yo, and yeah, boing. Oh, I actually hit the button with that one. I was just going for the chest, but works for me. Ah, no, let me up. I want the damn. All right. Wah! Woohoo!